contest is scheduled for one fall. Making their way to the ring.
Live from the AfterBuzz TV studios, it's Making Their Way to the Ring with Lilian Garcia.
Woo-hoo! Oh my gosh, the party is in the house. Welcome to Making Their Way to the Ring. You can see it's a little bit different today, and I'm about to explain why. A lot of action is going to happen today, and I don't even know if I'm looking forward to this. I don't know. Hi, I am Lilian Garcia. You can find me at Lilian Garcia on Instagram and Twitter. And also, you can find me at Lilian Garcia official fan page on Facebook. You can find us all here on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV and also on iTunes or wherever you can get podcasts. And with me today, as it's been every week, which I'm loving this. I'm loving this team. Please welcome first, we have former TMZ senior producer. Also, he is the editor-in-chief of ProWrestlingSheet.com. And now senior news producer here at Making Their Way to the Ring, Ryan Satin.
Thank you, Lillian. What's up, guys? Good to be here. It was a Mother's Day weekend. We all got to spend some time with our moms, but now we're here. We got some wrestling news to talk about, and like you said, the tables are turned today, so I'm excited.
Yeah, all right, and also with us here, she is kind of new to the team. She is awesome. I'm loving her personality, her spirit, her, just like she's in it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. She is the news and social media correspondent, Ashley Daniels.
Thank you, Lillian. Hi, guys.
You're just bright. Where can we find you, Ashley?
Oh, on Twitter at Ashley Daniels and Instagram, Miss Ashley Daniels.
All right, so guys, as you can see, the tables are turned. I'm on this side. Yes, I'm in this side of the table. You guys usually see me on the other. If you're listening to us on audio, I am on the opposite side. Not that it really matters because we all sound the same here in the studio. But the reason why is because the tables are being turned and I'm being interviewed today by these guys.
I know, it felt weird today when I went to sit down at this desk and I had to sit on your side of the table. I was like, oh, that's Lillian's.
Isn't it something about, like, we just have this seat that we gravitate, even in a class, you think about it, in a, let's say you start, classroom or whatever, whether it's elementary school, you gravitate to a seat and then every day you want to go to that seat. It just becomes your spot.
Well, even like on your couch at home, you have like a full giant couch. You always like pick the same spot to sit on the couch.
Crazy.
It's like the territorial thing. I don't know.
Your side of the bed, it's like, that's your side of the bed.
Right? There is a class that I actually took that forced us to, every time we showed up in class, we had to sit in a different place.
Oh, really?
Yes. And let me just tell you, everybody was a little bit like, oh God, this just feels awkward. This just feels, she's in my seat.
I would hate that because I know I'd eventually at one point have to sit in the front of the class, and that was not my thing. I was the back of the class.
I was the front of the class.
Oh, you seem like you'd be a front of the class. Like, pay attention.
I've been in both, and they do tell you a lot of times to sit in the front, like you'll do better because you pay more close attention.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah, and you get less distracted.
That's what happened.
That's what happened. Well, it was Mother's Day yesterday.
It was.
Big shout out to my mom, Mercedes Garcia. I mean, she's just amazing, and we had a great day yesterday. Took her to the tar pits.
Yeah, I saw your pictures.
Oh my God, I had never been there. Okay, I've lived here now 7 years, and I've never been to this tar pit. Always drove by. And then my sister's in town too, obviously, celebrating and everything. And we were like looking for things to do, and we were saying some things to Mom. Okay, what would you like to do? Like this or that or whatever. And I mentioned tar pits. And kind of talking about the Ice Age and all that. She's like, oh, she loves to learn. And that's where I get it from too. I love to learn. And oh my God, I was fascinated. I loved it. We have a picture online. If you guys haven't seen it, all you have to do is go to Instagram. I posted a photo of us. It was either on Instagram or Twitter.
I think it was both.
Yeah, or something like that. But anyway, a huge mammoth behind me. And the tar pits are basically, La Brea means tar.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's street, La Brea. You just learned something.
I just learned something. Mondays. Yes. I love it. Monday morning, I'm already learning.
Yes. So it means tar. So anyway, it is the only place in the entire world where there is still these pits of tar, and these animals would get stuck in it. And they actually, in the museum, you can go to a section there, and they let you pull up, and you actually get the feel of what it is to be actually stuck And why they would die? They just died. So these tar pits, all of a sudden, I mean, many, of course, thousands of years later, they were going in for oil. And when they went in for oil, all of a sudden they see all these fossils. And so it became this big thing where they started getting all these fossils. And I mean, I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ice Age.
Right.
And these fossils are all preserved, and you can see them there, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, I actually had a friend who went a few weeks ago, and they were literally telling me the same thing. They were like, have you ever been there? It's like the coolest thing ever. And I was like, coolest thing ever? And they were like, dude, I loved it. You could walk around all day. Like, they were super into it.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And then we took her to, actually, I want to give a little shout out to this restaurant, because, sometimes restaurants, hit or miss, whatever. The atmosphere was amazing. The food was amazing. The service was amazing. I mean, it was one of those that the survey actually came to fill out, and it was like straight 10s. And it felt so good to do that, because for some reason, this day and age, people just fall short somewhere, right? They get so, I don't know, used to their thing.
Did you guys see how on top of it Steven was? He put the picture up while we were
Oh,
talking.
that's awesome.
I love
Good
that.
job,
Look at that,
Steven.
Steven. He's our engineer. He's incredible.
So cool.
So this restaurant, Via Aiora. Aiora? Yeah, I think because in Italian too, the double L's is like pronounced like a Y, and like it is in Spanish. So Via Aiora, I really recommend it. It's in the Rodeo section, which we wanted to spoil Mom, so it was really great. Very special, and we Snapchatted.
Wait, was this your mother's first Snapchat?
Yes.
Did
so
she
I
love
posted it? She was the cutest thing ever, and like it was just ridiculous.
Did you do any face swaps with her or anything
I
like
didn't do
that?
face. I don't know why it wasn't on there.
If you don't have good service, then the faces don't show up. All the
That's
filters
why,
don't
because I
show
wanted
up.
to try that. But
Yeah.
but she was so funny. So we like laughed and laughed and laughed and doing all these like Snapchatting things. Yeah. So it was a really beautiful day.
That's awesome. Yeah, my mom.
And you guys?
My mom just wanted to, like, because we're always so busy all the time. She literally just wanted to like sit at the house with us and like just talk and like have a good time
that's
talking.
awesome.
Yeah, so I cooked
Valuable time.
Yeah, she wanted some valuable time, so I cooked steaks for
That's
them.
so nice. Are you just siblings?
Yeah, me and my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's
yeah.
great.
So then we just hung out of the house, my mom.
Oh, that's great. So
That's fun.
shout out to your mom.
Shout out to Yoli Bender. What up?
And Ashley, were you able to be with your mom?
My mom's in Massachusetts, so no. But I sent her flowers and I called her.
Did you do a little Skype session or just FaceTime or anything like that?
No, I didn't. I was at, as you know, Championship Wrestling, where there's zero service. So you can write.
There's no
Mom, I
service
swear,
there.
I wasn't lying.
Especially where you are on the stage, where they're doing the interviews. There's literally, like, I'd be sitting there, like, checking my phone in between promos, like, man.
There's none, but I did call her later and we chatted again. And,
There is a secret Wi-Fi there, just so you know.
Ooh.
I've been trying to hack
I would
into
say
it.
that's off air.
I just want you to know, for months they didn't tell me about it. There is Wi-Fi
Okay,
there.
we'll talk later.
There you go. Well, guys, last week, so grateful and fortunate enough to have Stone Cold Steve Austin as the guest.
So cool.
interview.
Wow. Thank you, Stone Cold. I really, 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 really appreciate that you took the time out for that. We also he called in, I was on Maria Menounos' show
I saw that.
the
That's
next
cool.
day, and he called in and was part of that. Can't thank him enough for just being so open. We also got so much press out of it.
we were
so
on-
much press. Excuse me, Fox Sports and New York Post.
Dude, New York Post is a baller one. Like, that one I was shocked by. Like, I'm used to the wrestling sites by now, but the New York
Yeah.
Post, I was like, man, that's legit.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
So it was really great. I mean, they picked up the fact that he talked about how, because I asked him, I said, anytime that we're going, they were about to name a new general manager, I always expect Stone Cold's music to
As one
come up,
should.
right? And
Yeah.
pop up. And it hasn't. And so I just said, are we going to do that? Expect that? Or is it just the traveling? Or you're not? And that's when he said, yeah, flat out, the traveling, I'm over it. Like, and I get it. I mean,
Right.
it's just, it's a lot. So they picked up that whole story that, nope, you won't come back. However, you never say never in this business,
No.
right? He knows that too.
Right.
And the rumor mill is always strong with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, everyone, because he's one of the biggest of all time and he's not, not doing movies 24/7, there's always like the thought that maybe he's going to come back. Like, maybe
Yeah.
he's going to do a thing. So it was interesting you know, when he wasn't at WrestleMania and people were talking about like, oh, is there issues between Stone Cold and the WWE? And it was cool to hear him say like, dude, I'm gonna be part of the family forever. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm part of the WWE family. Like, I'm not going anywhere. You know? So I always like hearing that from him.
I think it's so cool too to hear a legend talk about what he thinks of today's wrestlers and the way he thought Roman Reigns is going to be a huge star. He said he's going to be a big star. I thought that was so cool, and just that he sits down and he still watches it.
Oh, yeah.
So it made me think like, when he watches it, does he want to be there? But you know,
well, he talked about it. He's like over that part.
I know, but it's interesting.
I don't know if you guys picked up on this on the interview that I thought was really key, and I'm hoping WWE is listening because we talked about how he can still contribute so much, but he doesn't want to be on the road. So I get that. However, this is 2017. Skype, FaceTime, all of that is in fact here, you know? And we talked about having him actually Skype sessions with up and coming with people that are already there. Like, these are valuable consults, you know?
I mean, if he's willing to do that, it would make no sense.
He's going to go to NXT.
It would make no sense not to.
But he even said, he goes, I'm not putting it, I mean, you're asking me, like, you know. But it was totally him saying, yeah, this is something I would be interested in doing. And I think WWE should totally.
It actually surprises me how much in wrestling things could happen that never do like that. Like, I feel like WWE would never think to reach out to Stone Cold for that because he's Stone Cold Steve Austin. That might think like, oh, that's beneath him to like do Skype sessions with NXT people. And it's crazy because he's like, no, I want to give back. Like, I want to help. And I like hearing that kind of stuff.
That is not beneath him at all.
No, I mean, you would think like, because he's made all this money, he could live in his mansion and do his podcast.
No, but he loves to do it.
But he wants to give back. That's what's awesome.
He wants to. He can contribute. He's amazing. I mean, the knowledge that is in this guy's head is incredible, so valuable. That I really, really hope that WWE will pay attention to this and take him up on that and do these sessions. I mean, for an NXT person or, like I said, even existing person, Roman Reigns contacting him, going, okay, dude, you've seen what I can do. I know you said that I'm a big star, but that I could be a bigger star. Help me.
Well, if you go back and you look,
guide me.
If you go back and you look like the origins of NXT with like Dusty Rhodes, even though he was there, Dusty Rhodes' promo class. I mean, you hear tons of talent talk about it in interviews all the time. That Dusty Rhodes' promo class is like what helped form them into the wrestler that they were able to become. So I mean, if you had another legend like Stone Cold who is like sitting there watching you guys, telling you what to do and how to, like, imagine Bobby Roode after 3 months of promo class with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, I just picture his promos being 10,000 times better. And he's already fun to listen to on the mic, but I just picture with Stone Cold Steve Austin in his ear telling him what to do. It'd be great.
Yes. So hopefully that will definitely happen. Okay, guys, speaking of, let's go ahead and we're going to go into a little bit of our wrestling news. We're going to do it different. We're just going to stay right here. Ashley is going to be bringing you what is the latest. Give us.
So Brie Bella had her baby.
Yay!
Baby Birdie.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, check it out. I've got my, can you guys see this? I don't know.
Yes.
Steven, can we see this on camera? Am I? Yeah, okay. Because I am about to, I'm like the contortionist.
You're about to tip over.
Cirque du Soleil over here.
I'm showing you my Brie Bella shoes. As a matter of fact, these are the very, very shoes that she wore to the ring. Yeah, she was cleaning out her drawer and she was like not wanting them. I'm like, oh, I'm totally gonna grab these. I love them.
They're amazing on you.
We're the same size, and I wore them because so happy for Brie. Yes, she was actually the very first guest here at Making Their Way to the Ring. So that's very special that she took the time out while she was pregnant, and she came on the show. You guys can actually catch that, like I said, on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, but the easiest, or on iTunes, easiest way to get to it is going to LilianGarcia.com. All the past interviews are there. So make sure you check that out because, I mean, it's just so exciting.
You know, my favorite part about it
and
is...
she was, and on Mother's Day, I mean, she got to celebrate.
She got to celebrate Mother's Day. I love, though, that, like, because they have the reality show Total Divas, like, the baby was a little late. Like, it was past its due date. And I love that it came out on the same night that the episode... they announced it, so it was the day before, but it came out the same night as Total Divas aired, where they showed her finding out that she was pregnant for the first time. So it was like such
a timing.
Yeah, it was like such a good promotion for the TV show that night. Like, that kid, good job, Birdie Joe. Like, you're already thinking PR. Like, I like it.
There you go.
Yeah, the name is so cute too.
Birdie.
Really
well, it's
cute.
And it's with the whole line that they're going to be doing, and also I think it's beautiful.
Oh, they're gonna like a baby line kind of thing.
Yeah, it's actually no. I don't even think it's a baby line. Although they might do a baby line.
Oh, you're talking about the Birdie. Yeah, I know you're talking about the Birdie thing they're doing.
Yeah, continuation of ladies. Yeah, they were going through a couple names. It was Branch, Braden, Bryn, and Bridget, and Birdie. So obviously they chose Birdie, but so cute.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so congratulations.
Yeah. And then we got Braun Strowman out for 4 to 8 weeks surgery.
Man, bad timing.
Yes. I mean,
So what happened?
What do you guys think about this? Like in terms of the pay-per-view, like who's gonna be stepping in and kind of, because it was like supposed to be Roman Reigns, right, and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, it looked like they were going towards Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, and he didn't. I don't think he got like a specific injury. From what I've been told, he broke the story on the site last week, and from what I've been told, he's just got like minor elbow issues. And because they had kind of already done this storyline on TV where he was going to be like injured with his rotator cuff, that they were like, we might as well, because I think he hurt it a little more on the European tour, the UK European tour. So they were like, get this minor surgery to get it out of the way, because clearly they can tell this guy has got a big future in the company. And like, let's nip this in the bud now so that it doesn't get worse in 6 months' time. Or
And that's
like that.
smart.
Yeah.
That is smart. That is preserving the longevity, right, of the superstar. And it's one of those things, again, when people are like, oh, wrestling's fake. I'm like, yeah, okay, the injuries, come on.
Well, how often are we talking about injuries every weekend here, pretty much?
Yes,
Injuries.
you're right,
This is incredible. It's just so hard on the body what they go through, and we just wish Braun well, because he's been doing so good.
And I do think this might maybe help him in the long run, because if he doesn't have to wrestle Roman Reigns now and maybe lose at this pay-per-view, I still feel like there's money. It seems like there's money in Brock versus Braun Strowman. Like, they're going to eventually do Brock versus Braun Strowman. And if he gets a little bit of time off to help build up towards that more and kind of get away from this Roman Reigns feud, it might not be the worst thing for him.
Right. Well, it ends up a lot of times silver linings, man. It always look at Cesaro. When he came back, all of a sudden he had a whole new look, a whole new entrance, a whole new thing, and it was like, oh, that's cool. You know? So it gives them a chance to reinvent themselves and for people to miss you.
Yeah, and he even said on Instagram, he was like, "This is just a minor thing for me."
Yeah, it's a hiccup.
Yeah,
it's a hiccup.
Yep.
All right, and the last story we got?
Well, we have The Rock saying that he would be okay running for president. Can you guys see this? Can you see this happening?
You know what? At this point with The Rock, I can see anything and everything. The guy is conquering the world.
Yeah.
I don't know what his political stances are. I don't know how much he can, really knows about politics. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. The government is just, I'm sorry. They're just crazy.
Well, he is
It's
a
like
registered independent.
And it's like watching a TV show right now, so it would only make sense that we'd replace the heel with like the ultimate babyface, the people's champ, you know?
Right?
It is just, but the dysfunction that's going on is ridiculous. I'm like, these are kids, like, going at each other. Like, people grow up and do something for this country and not be like bickering back and forth and getting nothing done. It is ultimate. I mean, it's just, to me, it's shameful.
Yeah.
It is like, I don't know.
Well,
Don't even get me started. But let's, if The Rock wants to run, and let's see how he does.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I do, I'm with you 100,000%. Like, when the story first came out, I was thinking I would never in a million years vote for The Rock to be president. Like, I love The Rock. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But do I want him to run the country? Like, no, I don't want to run the country. I want to watch him on TV. So, because like you, and everyone goes like, oh, well, it couldn't be worse than Trump, or like, oh, it couldn't be worse than everything going on right now in politics. And it's like, no, it could. Like, it definitely could. Like, let's not just.
Well, but before I would cancel The Rock out, I would listen to what he has to say. I would like to see him in a debate. I never like to close doors on everyone just because they've been an actor. Look, Reagan was an actor.
True, very true.
Okay.
And he did in this interview, because it was GQ where he said this too. Like, he was talking to GQ, and he did kind of talk about, he didn't get into deep detail, but he talked about like the travel ban and things that he would do. And it was interesting to hear The Rock talking like a political, in a very political way. It was interesting.
Yeah. I who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, time will tell on that one. I just wish that right now everybody would calm down and just get to work.
Amen to that.
Just get to work.
Amen to that.
You're being paid by us. By us. Go get some stuff done. This bickering back and forth is driving me crazy.
I'm totally going to make a gif of you doing that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I did see, it was Good Morning America, a big shout out to them. That was so awesome that they actually brought the story about how Hollywood and WWE is taking over Hollywood. How we've got The Rock, Batista, and Guardians. By the way, I saw Guardians.
Did you love it?
I loved it.
He steals the movie, right?
He is so good. I'm so glad that they gave him so many lines. I completely recommend it to all of you guys. Such a fun movie. Visually, the movie is great.
It's one of the only times I've been glad I've seen a movie in 3D because it's so colorful and everything.
Yes, I will say that Bradley Cooper as the raccoon. What's his name?
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket. Yeah. I mean, he's just awesome.
He's so good.
So good.
That whole taser face thing when he's like, "Turn your face!" Like, it's such
great.
A good movie.
It's really, really good. And then they were talking about Cena too, and there's more. They could have even talked about more of the superstars that have been in movies and stuff, and how, because for the longest time Hollywood has had such a stigma against wrestlers. I don't get it, against the WWE or just like wrestlers in general. That happened to me when I left in 2010 or in 2009, and then moved out here in 2010,
which we'll get into.
Right, which we'll get into. And I was, kind of dabbling into, okay, well, what new hosting gigs could I do or whatever. And then all of a sudden it was just this, oh, you were with WWE. I was like, okay, what's the deal? And they were like, oh, did you wrestle? I'm like, no, I didn't wrestle, but what does it matter even if I did?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just this stigma that I'm like, dude, I was on live TV. Like that alone, the training that I got to be on live TV for that long is huge.
I was listening to an interview on my way home last night for Mother's Day with John Morrison, and he talked about that a lot because he's got that new movie coming out that he helped finance, or he financed basically the whole thing, and he was talking how when he left WWE, he was like, oh, well, they're going to put me in movies. Like, I'm going to be in, like, a multi-million-dollar movie. Like, I've been on TV for the past 7 years. And then he got to Hollywood and was like, hey. And it was just like, nope. Laters, dude. And he had to finance the movie himself, basically.
Yes. That's why. So I'm really glad that Good Morning America brought this up. Again, thank you, because same thing with Stone Cold. I mean, he's done a lot of movies. He talked about how he doesn't really like them because he doesn't like the whole memorization being on set and all of that, which was interesting to hear, right? But I do remember that when he was a guest on Nash Bridges, he was a guest on there, and he got his take in one take. And the director on scene was like, whoa, how did you do that? Right, one take, and he goes, well, we're on live TV. Like, I don't have a chance to do 2 and 3 and 4 takes. Like, this is what we're trained to do. We got to get it right the first time, right? Yeah. And so it is the best training ground.
That's very, very interesting. That probably explains why so many wrestlers become so successful in acting.
Yes.
That's so fascinating. Yeah, because it's just so easy for them to memorize.
Well, it's just one take, one take. That's it. We got to just freaking nail it.
It's like soap stars. They only get maybe 2 takes if they're lucky.
Not really.
It's not live, but they still.
Right. That's not live. I mean, it's fast-paced.
It's fast-paced,
but still, if they mess up, they can do it again.
True. You can't.
Here, no. It's out there.
I listened to an interview with James Gunn just because I liked the movie so much, and he was talking about how Batista was really talented, great actor when they filmed the first movie, but because he's gone and done like 8 other movies since they filmed that, and they might have all been huge blockbusters, but a couple of them were like Bond.
Yeah, Bond.
And he's in the new Blade Runner, but he also did a few indie movies too. And he was like, all these other actors in the movie, they're great. But Batista's the only one who, from 1 to 2, became an exponentially greater actor. Like, he went out and did all these other things, and now that's why we gave him so many lines, because he's just great as an actor in general now.
Well, he says it takes you 10,000 hours to become a professional in anything.
Makes sense.
10,000 hours. You just got to keep doing it over and over and over. Mm-hmm. Rehearsals count, all that kind of stuff. It is why Olympic athletes, all that kind of stuff, they'll go in, a swimmer will go in the morning and they'll train for 6 to 8 hours, where it's golfers, you want to become good at something, you have to rehearse it every day, do it every single day.
Yep.
So.
Definitely with golf.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. I used to golf. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
I had to do it every single day, or you literally lose it.
There you go.
Crazy.
Yeah,
how into golf were you?
I literally took lessons from like 7 years old till I was like 17.
Wow, crazy.
I
Yeah,
never saw that in you.
I was just thinking
Never.
that.
The last sport I would have
Really?
put you in is golfing.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I was actually really good for a while. I mean, I lost it now. Like, I don't golf anymore.
Oh
but,
my God, that is one thing. I like to putt, but that's
Yeah.
about it with golf.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
if you can do
cannot stand to watch it on
the
TV.
secret is if you're great at tennis or baseball, you can golf. It's the same swing, just lower.
I
Okay.
think I'm good at golf, but then when I get there and I
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
do it, and then like I do this, they literally always goes like the opposite direction. The ball.
20 minutes with me, and it won't be like that.
Okay.
I'm really good at teaching it, better than I am at it.
Awesome. Good to hear that.
That's fun.
Well, there you go. Learn something new about Ashley. All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial break now, and then that's it. The tables are being turned. You guys wanted this. They wanted this. They wanted me in the hot seat. They wanted to interview me, and the fans were asking for it as well, so it's happening today. So, yeah, I get to be interviewed. So right after this, we'll be right back with more Making Their Way to the Ring.
What's up, party people? Roxy Stryer here from The Tomorrow Show with Kevin Undergaro. We're your twice-weekly broadcast of one man's midlife crisis and the mad millennials in Star Trek uniforms that follow him.
And I'm one of those millennials, Lauren LaGrasso here. We've had some amazing guests like Russell Simmons, Ileana Douglas, and Craig Gass. Coolio, right?
Christian Blatt in the house to tell you to go to thetomorrowshow.com to check us out. We're live every Monday and Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern. That's thetomorrowshow.com. Be there or be square, whatever that means.
The talented Lilian Annette Garcia was born into a military family. Raised in Madrid, Spain, Lilian moved to the United States at 8 years old, where she considered South Carolina her new home. As a child, she participated in numerous singing competitions, which helped her prepare for singing at major events, such as the 1996 Summer Olympics, as well as for every major sports league like the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and ultimately, WrestleMania. On August 23rd, 1999, Lilian Garcia began her journey into the world of sports entertainment by debuting as a ring announcer and interviewer. Along with announcing some of the greatest performers in the history of the WWE, she also was tapped to sing the Star-Spangled Banner on a weekly basis before Monday Night Raw, including an unforgettable rendition on the September 13th, 2001 edition of SmackDown, just 2 days after 9/11. Lilian has been involved in many memorable on-air moments, which are still being talked about to this day, including the beer baths she received from Stone Cold Steve Austin, flirting with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and even proposing to former champion Viscera. In 2007, Garcia released her debut album entitled Quiero Vivir, where she co-wrote 11 of her songs, including 3 of them with the incomparable John Cicada, as well as her follow-up My Time EP, which received raving reviews. In 2012, Lilian became the only person surpassing Aretha Franklin to have sung America the Beautiful 3 times at WrestleMania. After 15 years of the WWE, Lilian made the difficult decision to depart to spend time with her family. Since departing, she appeared as a contestant on The Price is Right, and she's appeared on the AfterBuzz TV network after she launched the very successful Making Their Way to the Ring podcast, which you're currently watching and listening to. Now, it's about to get real, raw, and inspiring with Lilian Garcia. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, I'm not just sitting here in Lilian's seat for fun. We are interviewing Lilian this week. The takeover is complete. It's time to learn about Lilian Garcia's journey to the ring. And I'm excited to do this because, you know, Lilian, you talk all the time about how you like getting to talk to your friends and learning their journey to the ring.
Yes.
You spend so much time with them and you don't know everything about them.
Right.
And I've known you for a while now,
Yes.
and there are a lot of things that I don't know. You know, I was doing my research for this interview, and I was like, man, there are a lot of things I didn't know about Lilian's past and things that I'm excited to kind of get into about your time in WWE. Now, I know you like to spend a little time on the childhood of certain wrestlers. So I would
Yes.
like to, you know, I know you grew up in Spain. Would you say your earliest memories are in Spain?
Oh, absolutely. I was there for 8 years, and oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. I have such great childhood memories from living there. Luckily, where I grew up, there was a park right in front of us. And my dad worked for the American Embassy there. That's why I grew up there. And my sister and I would just play in the park all the time, every day. And there was actually a Spanish school, I think it was a Catholic school, that was attached to the park. So because Dolly and I went to the American school, we would get out, I think it's like 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And so they didn't get out till much later, like 5 or something. So my sister and I would be out there like waiting for them. When are they coming out? Like, let's play, And so they'd come out and we'd already be there ready to go, and playing around. So it was just, it was a lot of fun.
Why did they have later school? Do you know why?
Yeah, the hours in Spain are just different.
So they start school later?
I think they, I can't really remember if it's that they start school later or the siesta.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I mean, that's some serious stuff.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Go home during the day, yeah, and that's even stores that will close. You don't see that as much now. I just was there, what was it, like a month and a half ago. You still see some stores that close in the middle of the day, but not as much. Because like everything else, commercialism just takes over, and money takes over, and customs change. And remember when we used to not even be open on Sundays?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stores were not open on Sundays. Chick-fil-A still does not open on Sunday, which is really
pisses me off. It always ends up being Sunday when I want to get Chick-fil-A, and I roll up there and I'm like, no, it's Sunday.
Do you think that's just because it's not open, so you want it even more?
Yeah.
It has to be something within me that just clicks.
It's funny. When they made that decision, I was just like, that's really cool. And then when I showed up at Chick-fil-A one day, I was just like, oh man, I forgot it's on that. But so anyway, so I think it has something to do with that.
That's interesting. Could you imagine us just shutting down in the middle of the day and just?
No,
you're
that's what
such a
I'm
worker
saying,
person. I couldn't imagine any of us just shutting down in the middle of the day.
I think it's great though. I think if you grow up with that, it just becomes a custom like everything else. As same thing, kind of like what we say here in the workforce. We're like, okay, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, it's time to go home. You can continue to work from there if you want, which is, I don't recommend it, but because you have to have some shut off time too. You have to.
No,
you got it built in.
It is hard to work from home because it's hard to separate the two.
Oh
when you're at
man,
home.
yeah,
absolutely. So then, so you were there for 8 years, right, in
Yes.
Spain? So then what grade were you in when you moved?
Third grade.
Third grade.
So I came here, I was in the middle of third grade.
Okay.
When I moved here. And wow, the culture shock.
That's actually what I wrote in here. Yeah, how was that?
Oh my God, I moved from Spain to South Carolina.
Which is vastly different.
So different. The thing is though, first, and I think we've touched on this before, but the very first place, I was very excited about coming to America. I'd heard a lot about America. I am American, my dad worked for the American Embassy. So I was like, okay, finally, getting ready to, go to America. And we actually went to New York first because my aunt lived there. So we went to visit her first. Now, I think I've shared with you guys before that the Statue of Liberty in the pamphlet that I saw was white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was white. So when I got here and she's green, I'm like, what the heck? And at the time, New York wasn't the New York now. It was really dirty. Times Square was completely sleazy.
Grime status.
Oh, it was awful. The drugs, it was just really, 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 really bad. What do you call it? Prostitutes, I guess?
Oh,
Hookers?
yeah, of course.
They're all over in the corners, and it was just bad news. So I'm coming from Spain where it was so clean and very strict and very you walk the streets with. It's not like they have it. It's not like they told you can't wear this. It's not like that, but it just had this. Everybody was very prideful and wore dresses, and you look nice when you hit the streets. Where all of a sudden I come here, and even in school in South Carolina, everyone is wearing jeans. And my mom is giving me dresses to wear, and I'm looking at all the kids, and I'm like, I am sticking out like a sore thumb. Oh my God. And I'm like, Mom, can I please wear jeans? I didn't even own a pair of jeans.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not.
Where did you buy your first pair of jeans? I have to ask.
No.
Where? When?
When? How-
Well, because all of a sudden, I don't even remember how I got my hands on a pair of jeans. But I did, and so what happened was I would go to school, and I would actually get picked on. I got picked on immediately because I stuck out like a sore thumb, and I spoke Spanish, right? And I didn't know how to speak English because I learned how to speak English when I was in kindergarten back in Spain because I went to the American school.
You spoke English and Spanish at this point?
I spoke both, and that's why I don't have an accent because
Yeah.
I learned English when I was 5 years old, so that's why I didn't develop an accent. But still, my customs are so different, right? And so all of a sudden, I am not blending in. I am one that I want to have friends. I went and we could talk about how that was just really, really rough on me in school. But
Well, was it and I'm just wondering, because I went to South Carolina once, just one time, and there were like Confederate flags up in certain areas. Was it like a Hispanic Spanish thing at all, you think, that they picked on you, or was it just because you were different?
I think because I was different. I don't think at that time it was the culture that it is now with a lot of Spanish-speaking people, all that too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you're different, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, right? You don't know how to associate in a way. And I'm just trying to fit in, even though I spoke the language and all. But I do remember that I would get to school and I would actually change into my jeans so that the kids would not pick on me as much, right?
That's crazy
and
that you
then
had to do that.
I would go back and I would put on the dress before I got home so that mom wouldn't be mad at me. So I went through that spiel for
That's
a while.
lot for a kid.
But
Wow.
still not being able to make friends. Like it was just, oh my God, I don't recommend this at all. So this is what I did. I don't know if you want me to tell you
Yeah, of course.
going into my bullying story, but it was one of those things that I got picked on and stuff. And so I wanted to be a popular girl so bad.
As one wants in elementary school,
It's
middle
like
school.
you equate that
Yeah.
into I'm cool, I'm hip. It means I'm somebody.
Well, it means you're not going to get picked on, too. I mean,
That
you're
and
gonna
it
have
means I'm somebody.
Yeah.
That's the way that I took it. Oh, if I'm with the popular crowd, then then I am, whatever. Like I said, I'm somebody. So what happened was that the popular girls, not the guys, the popular girls were totally picking on me and stuff. And so it's like I looked the other way. I don't know. It's like the more they picked on me, the more I wanted to be with. It's so stupid. Like I look at it now, I'm like, God, I just like totally wanted to be in the torture chamber, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Oh, you want to hit me? Oh, you want to make fun of me? Oh, can I be in your group? Please, can I be in your group? Like, so I saw the table that they would actually set up in school to eat lunch. And so I would dash right out of class, and I'd run to that table, and I would be the first one sitting there. And
Because the first person there is always the cool one.
well, not even that. It's because I didn't want that position of, I knew if they were all sitting there, they wouldn't invite me over. So I invited myself.
That was actually good thinking.
Well, kind of.
I see, Ryan, you're
it
not a
didn't-
girl, so
No.
you guys don't experience this.
No.
Oh my God!
It's a bad idea.
They would look at me like with their trays as they're coming to our table, like we were talking about. This is my seat.
Yeah.
It was that.
Oh, okay.
This is our table. Who invited you? And I'm just like, hi, kind of deal. And so I'm sitting there, and now it's like very uncomfortable, right? But I am trying to force myself in. So. Some things are said, some things, all of that. All right, so
Wait, no, what do you mean when some things were said? They said something to you?
Oh yeah, I mean they were
Mean.
not. Oh yeah.
They were like, what the hell are you doing here type status?
Totally. And then, so it became this thing of, how they say, if you're bullied, speak up or whatever. Okay, so I actually went to the guidance counselor and spoke up about it. What happened is that the guidance counselor there, one by one, brought the girls in to have conversations with me.
Oh, no.
And it was like, why don't you like me?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh my God, people!
It was
I
like
don't
mediator,
recommend that.
Right? They're like a mediator
Yes,
thing?
I
Yeah.
don't recommend it because what happened was the girls would be really nice with the guidance counselor
Yeah.
and very nice to me in there, and they'd walk out and they'd go, Susan, can you believe that Lilian put me in to speak about it? Oh, it was so bad. So then it became a bigger thing and a bigger reason to pick on me because I brought them all into the guidance council. And I'm just trying to comprehend this. I am a girl from Spain who had never had any problems with friends, who would never,
Just busy waiting
trying
outside the other school in Spain, waiting for your friends to come and hang.
trying to fit into an environment that is so not my environment, but I'm trying so hard to fit in, right? Anyway, finally what clicked in me was I remember them one day making fun of somebody that was, she was a cripple, and they made fun of her and laughing at her and all this stuff, and I'm
Those
going,
same girls?
yes. And I looked at that and I went, wait a minute. Why am I trying so hard to be in a group that does that? Like whoa, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And right then and there, I did not sit with them anymore. I didn't try to force it anymore.
How old were you at that point?
So
Like grade-wise?
Oh, well, this went on from middle school into high school. Like I was trying to
But
compete.
the girl that was wheelchair, like how old?
That was high school.
That was high school?
That
level?
was high school.
So you would say like from
From
third grade
third
to
grade.
that point,
I
you
was
had trouble with friends?
so trying to. I didn't have to like. I had some core friends that I still to this day have. They were necessarily not in the popular group either, you know. But I don't know why. I just felt like, oh, I want to be in the popular. I want to be accepted by everybody. Like I had that thing. I just want to be liked by everyone. And I've realized like through the years, you're not going to be liked by everyone, and you got to get over it. And people are, you know, just and when be careful what group you're really wanting to be a part of. Right? And so that's when I learned, when I saw that and I said, why am I trying so hard to be in this group who is just being so downright mean and had really they didn't have any core value, whatever. They were just mean and they
Trash
talked
people.
about other girls.
They're mean,
and and they even talked about each other to each, you know, it's like, oh, this is crazy to me. Right? So that's when I decided, forget it. College was awesome for me. I feel like it was like a do-over in a way. You start over from scratch. I had a lot of fun. But what happened too is in high school especially, I started making a lot of friends with guys. And all the popular guys and I really got along, you know. So the girls then started seeing this too. They're like, oh, well, he like, you know, all that. So then they started becoming nicer to me because I also wasn't trying to force myself
Popular by
in.
association type thing.
Well, it was like I stopped trying to force myself
Yeah.
in.
It's all a game.
And I was like, I don't need this anymore. Guess what? Once you start doing this, like,
Yep.
I don't need you. They're like, well, why don't you want to be in our group?
It's the same thing. Friends and dating are the same thing.
Yeah.
When you stop liking a guy or vice versa,
Yes,
they want you.
that's when they want you. It's crazy, right? So.
Do you know where any of those girls are these days? Like, you have to call
yes,
them.
as a matter of fact, they actually Facebook, like when I got on Facebook, they actually went in to say, hey, can we, you know, because my Facebook is private. You
Yeah.
have to ask to be
I don't even think
part
you
of
accepted
it.
my friend request.
I don't even know if I see it. Like, seriously, I can't even keep up. Like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
why I
know-
like the fan page
I know you're not on
so
Facebook
much
all
better.
the time. It's okay.
No, so I went ahead and they were asking to be part of my Facebook, and at first, the first instinct, of course, is like, no way, you weren't nice.
You're the worst.
And then I'm like, no, but that's not who I am. I'm not going to turn around and shun you, and like you tried to shun me. I'm not doing that. And people grow up, right? So sure enough, I accepted their request, and then the nicest compliments started coming, and literally they started saying, man, so sorry for the way we were with you in high school, and you know, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was.
I wish I could be better with
nice.
stuff like that, like you are. I just, man, because I'll have people from high school request me that I hated, that I'm like, ew, no, like I don't want to be friends with you. But that's such a better mentality, and I'm sure, like you said, dealing with that and them rejecting you that whole time really did open your eyes to, because you are like a really nice person, so it makes sense to me as to why. You know, why you are the way you are when you hear these things.
It actually molded me into the person I am today. So if I had to do it all over again, I would say it has to be that way. It just has to be. Like, that was just my path. And you can either accept it and learn from it and move forward from it, or some other people let it damage them for the rest of their lives. And I'm like, you get to choose, right? It's your choice. And I decided, no, I know who I am. I know who I want to be. I know who the person that in society who I want to be. And just because I didn't get accepted here does not mean I didn't make it into a meaning of, oh, it means I'm not somebody important or somebody special or somebody, you know. It just, for some reason, I was so different that they didn't grasp it. I scared them in a way, right?
Yep.
And the forcing never works.
No.
Never.
I did the same thing when I was a new kid in middle school. I tried to like force my way into groups, and it was like they always pushed back, and then I was like the guy no one liked in middle school, and I had a very similar. I didn't move from Spain, but I moved towns, and
yes.
You have those things when you try and force your way into any group, and then in high school, once I found my own actual group of friends, it was like, oh, now we want to hang out with you.
Yes.
So yeah, it's 100% right. Now, when you were in high school, when did music kind of first enter your life?
Oh, God, when I was 5 years old.
When you were 5.
When I was 5 years old, my dad was learning how to play guitar. My dad always wanted to learn how to play guitar. And so the instructor came to teach him. And as he's trying to teach Dad, my sister and I got around, and you know, some of the songs that the instructor was playing, my sister and I started singing with him. And all of a sudden the instructor's like, oh, wow, these girls can sing. So he would come over every lesson. Poor dad never learned how to play guitar because basically the instructor came over just to play so that my sister and I could sing. And that's where singing, and there's a really cute photo that I have with my sister on one side, my dad, with the guitar in his hand. He's really not playing, people. Like, it's so cute.
I think you might have shown us that on the episode when your dad passed away. I think we talked about that. Yeah.
It was a very, very special picture. My dad's trying, but no, which it kind of is special. Like, even before he passed away, I have a guitar at home, and he picked it up and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna finally learn." And so I actually put on the little iPad some instructions, like, YouTube on how to play guitar, and he was totally starting, to learn. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, it's years later, but it was a beautiful thing. And I have a beautiful picture of him older, with learning the guitar. But yeah, I mean, it just was in my blood immediately. I used to sing around the house all the time. My dad has a singing voice, so we definitely got it from my dad. And then it just became this thing where my sister and I started performing together. Mm-hmm. And the response that we were getting from people, and I just immediately, I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Was that in Spain, or was that once you moved back here that you were performing with your sister?
When I started, I remember more performing with my sister here in the States.
Where would you guys perform? Like
in
the
South
carnival?
Carolina.
Like carnival?
No, there would be like a variety show. There would be
like
a
at school?
festival. School, I always performed in
Yeah.
school. So yes, you know what? I just do remember. I remember when I was in third grade. When I first got here, there wasn't like individual classrooms. It was so many people in Irmo. I went to Irmo school in South Carolina, and there were so many people at the school that they actually had to turn this gym, and they would put dividers in the gym. It was kind of it was like in the big room. Okay, I just remember this huge room. Anyway, they put dividers so they would separate classes. So what ended up happening is when they found out that I sang, they would take the dividers down at the end of the day, and then I would perform for
all the kids?
For all the kids in that whole gym.
Wow.
And that was the one place that I got so much respect when I performed, even the popular, even everybody. You could hear a pin drop whenever I performed. And then it was like, well, and then the applause would be just crazy, right? So again, I associated with, oh, this is the moment that I get to be liked. So it made me like it even more, and it was just so nice. And I got voted most talented senior, which was really nice. It's like, again, coming from your peers who I've struggled with so much, but then they vote you most talented senior, meant so much. I'm like, oh, so maybe I do have something.
It's interesting. I never thought about that, of like those performances, like when I was in high school and middle school, like because I struggled with like friends and stuff too a little bit, that those are when you feel the most liked, because everyone's like, all eyes are on you, and then when you kill it and you do a good job, and everyone's like, great job.
Yes.
Like, it feels, it is a nice sense of satisfaction.
It's a moment of acceptance.
Do you think that's what led you to become an entertainer in general, like in the entertainment industry?
Well, I mean, I loved it, but I also loved the fact, like I said, I can remember that when I'll never forget, I was performing. It was like assembly. It was I don't know whether it was part of a pageant. I think it was a part of a pageant, but or we had morning assemblies. We had this, and they would give me a lot of solos in the choir and all. And I remember performing, and like I said, at that moment, all those popular girls, everybody was in the gym, and I remember that I could hear. You just couldn't hear, and like I could hear everybody was so quiet for my performance, right? And then they erupted at the end, and I was just like, oh my God, I actually was able to capture them for the 3.5 minutes and quiet the entire school, the entire, whoever went in that assembly, quieted it down for 3.5 minutes where nobody was talking and everybody was appreciating and just kind of lost in the moment. And so that was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And so, yeah, I feel like I said, I think that had it been completely different and people booing to no end or whatever, I don't know that I would appreciate it as much, But I did. It's those moments, and that's happened even now with the band or whatever. I'm performing, and people are just lost in it, and just like their faces are glowing, and they're singing along, and it's just such an adrenaline rush that you're like, When I sing the national anthem.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you had told young Lilian that she was gonna get to perform for that many people, have that many people quiet, I mean, you know, staring at her, it's crazy.
I'm saying, I've sang 3 WrestleManias. I mean, I hold a record for that. Like, I remember when I sang 2 and Aretha Franklin and I held the title. I'm like, oh my God, I hold the title with Aretha Franklin.
That's awesome.
Like, this is crazy, you know? And then all of a sudden they asked me to do it a 3rd time, and now I hold a record for singing the most WrestleManias.
And we're going to get into that a little more. But
and having that, like all those people where you hear you can't hear anything but me singing, it's crazy, or you'll hear a whoo, you know, in the middle or something, you're like, it's awesome. It is awesome.
What was the biggest attendance that you sang for WrestleMania? Do you know?
Definitely before Mania. No, wait, it was definitely Mania. Well, yes, before the last Mania, because remember the very first 2 Manias were in an arena.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't this. So when the New York Jets asked me to sing it, and I've sang for them now 11 times.
Yeah.
It's so crazy and so awesome, and that's because they saw me in WWE singing it, and the guy who hires the anthem singer was in the front row right behind me. He hands me his card. He's like, you gotta sing it for us. Okay, so and that started an amazing relationship with them. But that New York Jets game where there were 80 or 70 whatever 70,000+ people, that was the biggest then. And then my 3rd WrestleMania was also that big. I mean, it was just that's nuts.
Man.
I remember, as a matter of fact, I actually had to do the sound check for Ashanti, and she was going to be singing in a Mania like this. And when I did the sound check for her, I was just like, oh man, why can't I sing? I want to sing in a big stadium like this for Mania, because the very first 2, like I said, had been an arena. And then years, forward, and I got to do it. And so it was just so
It's funny,
special.
you're like Carmella in the interview you did with her, where she was sitting in the front row at WrestleMania or whatever, watching, going like, I want to do that. And then the next year, she's like in the ring, for the title. That's like fully you.
Yes.
Now, you briefly mentioned just now and all that, you said something about pageants, and I'll admit that some of this info is from Wikipedia. So I saw on there it mentioned that you competed in the Miss South Carolina beauty pageant.
I did.
So how long did you do pageants for?
I didn't do them that long. I didn't get into my first pageant till about, I think I was 16. And now Mom is not a pageant mom. Let me just say that right now.
Just getting that
my
out.
mother was just like, my sister and I both got into them, and my mom was like, oh, okay, you girls want to do this? All right, this is on you, and you guys can do it. But she kind of didn't like them because she gets so nervous at them, so nervous, because she wanted us to do well, right?
Yeah.
I actually have a really funny pageant story. So, but I started getting into in 18, I think Miss Cinderella.
No.
That's what it was called?
Cinderella was my very first pageant. It was so cute, and I actually won. It was
There
so
we go.
crazy.
There we go.
Yeah, it was awesome, and it was a talent pageant, so I got to sing and everything. And but I'll never forget. I actually did. And I'll lead us into the Miss South Carolina, but I got to do a Miss Valentine pageant.
No.
And I remember that going into it. Now you would put Vaseline on your teeth
So
to
you
make.
smile.
So you smile. You
Yeah,
know
I
about
did
this,
pageant,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
You did pageants too? For
Yeah.
how long?
4 years.
Okay, cool.
So
times.
I put Vaseline in my teeth,
Vaseline
and
on your teeth?
yeah, it makes you smile or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because you don't want to.
Crazy.
You don't want to eat the Vaseline. It tastes like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in your mouth, Vaseline
Yeah.
sounds awful.
It's
Yeah.
awful. So anyway, put Vaseline in my teeth, and I remember that the one comment is make sure you go out there and smile. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm out there and I'm smiling, right? And I see my parents, and they look mortified. And so in my head, I'm like, oh God, they're mortified. So I guess I'm not smiling enough.
Oh no.
So let me smile some more. Let me tell you something. That smile became like, wow, the biggest smile you could ever imagine. Like, now they're more mortified. And all it was they were nervous. That's all it was. They were just nervous. They didn't even know that their face had looked. They were just scared, They just get that way.
Getting out there.
And so I still got first runner up. I don't know how. But I looked back at some of the footage of that, and I'm like, oh my God!
Oh,
Thank
you have
God.
that footage?
Well, I did at one time. I don't have it anymore, and it's so
I
funny.
wanna see that.
I know. Thank God that was before all the video cameras or whatever, or it'd be really bad.
Do you ever think about that? Like, about how because I'm kind of, as much as I enjoy being able to film everything, I think about the fact that I'm glad we didn't have camera phones when I was a kid.
So happy. You don't understand. Like, this is too much.
Yeah.
To record everything of yourself growing up and this and then have that footage as, it's out there, you know, forever. That's why be careful what you put on Facebook, what you put on Instagram, what you put on Twitter. Like, do not put yourself partying and all that stuff. Like, that stuff
It exists forever on the
internet.
exists
forever. Companies really do look at that when they hire now.
Oh, yeah.
They
They
really
look at your
do.
Facebook.
They look at your Facebook. They look how much did you were sitting there with the bong and the whatever, or, you know.
Sitting there
Oh,
with
wait,
the
I said bong. I meant like, it's crazy, but
A
it's
really
true.
cool bong.
What's she doing?
What's that thing? The funnel.
You go your bong. I got where you were going.
Oh my
but...
God. It's like, it's crazy. Don't post this kind of stuff. I really don't. But anyway, going to Miss South Carolina. So my sister actually won Miss South Carolina.
Okay.
She won
so
Miss
wait,
South
you were in
Carolina.
the same pageant together?
No. It's years before.
Okay.
So she's 4 years older.
Yeah.
So she was kind of in the game before me, or I can't remember if I think she did. I think she got in the game before me as far as deciding when to do pageants. So anyway, she became Miss South Carolina. And then I think it was like 2, 3, maybe 4 years later that I competed in the Miss South Carolina. I worked my ass off. I mean, I was driving like 2 hours just to go to a gym. Like, I actually went, Carolina people are not going to like this, but I actually went close to, it was Clemson, to train. Now, Carolina and Clemson are like total rivals, right? I did not go to the school, okay, just so you know that. But the gym guy that was like, he trained everybody. He was the guy to go to. Was there. So I would drive 2 hours, train with him, drive 2 hours back. I would do, like, it's just a massive thing that you have to do to be good in the pageant, right? So I was ready. I mean, I studied with my coach. I had my songs. I had all of this stuff. I show up. Now, it's a whole week-long pageant. So I show up on the Monday, and I have my roommate and everything like that. Now, people know that Dahlia had been a Miss South Carolina. She was a very popular Miss South Carolina, extremely popular.
So you were kind of following her shadow almost. Like you were like in her phone.
Yeah, it was not easy.
Would you say you and your sister are pretty alike? Like you kind of follow her lead?
Yes, we are both entertainers. We are
Yeah.
both like, if we both were born 4 years apart, but in the same hospital, same room, same doctor delivered us. 4 years apart. Like, we literally are almost twins.
No, that's like me and my brother. When he was alive, like my brother and I were saying, we're 4 years apart. So I'm very similar in that regard. Like he blazed a trail, and I always had to fall behind. So when I went to school, it was like, oh, you're Drew's brother, kind of thing. And it was like he was bad in school, so it was always like, oh, he's gonna be a problem like his brother. So I know how you feel going to the pageant, where it's like,
there was a lot of
Dahlia's sister.
and exactly. And oh my God, the pressure was already on me, right? But I was ready for it. I was like so ready for it. So I get there, I start forming friends and all this kind of stuff, and I just immediately, and it was just so nice to have those girls where at first they're intimidated, right? Because you're the sister of a former very popular Miss South Carolina. And so they're very intimidated. And then they got to know me, and they're like, oh, you're cool, you're this, you know. So we formed friendships. And I think it was like the Wednesday or Thursday of the pageant, that all of a sudden the state newspaper in South Carolina decides to write this article in the front of the newspaper. And they said, the Miss South Carolina pageant will be rigged, and Lilian Garcia will be rigged to win.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Do you still have it?
No.
Oh, I
But
wish
this is
you.
what-
That's crazy.
I know. And literally, it talked about how we would be the first Latinas it's first sisters to win Miss South Carolina, first Latinas to win Miss South Carolina, and then it was totally that I had inside scoop and all this kind of stuff and all of that, and then they literally at the very end they said, watch on Sunday as we let you know that we were right. Holy time bomb. Like, that was just a bomb that went off, right? I was devastated.
Yeah.
Did not sleep. I had to go into my interview the very next day. And I just remember being in such a fog. Now all the judges, they all know this. Like, the girls now started acting different towards me.
Damn.
Yeah. Now my roommate didn't. She was the best. She was amazing. I really wish I remembered her name.
Do you remember
I'm so
town
bad at
she
names.
was Miss something?
I think she was Miss. Oh my God, Gatesburg.
Okay.
There's Gatesburg. God, I can't remember if there's a Gatesburg, South Carolina. I get something G. No, it's not Gatlinburg. That's not it. But anyway, yeah, you can look it up.
I'm looking it up.
Is there a Gatesburg?
That's what I'm doing.
I just remember Miss Gattensburg, Miss something.
Batesburg?
No, it started with a G. Oh my God! All the people in South Carolina right now are
so mad at you.
they're yelling at it. They're like they're yelling the name. They're yelling the name. It's come on! It's not Gilbert. It's not anywhere. Gattenberg? No, it's not Gattenberg. There's something. There's
Gastonia, Gaston.
Nope.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to pull up South Carolina. Whatever. Okay.
Anyway, she was awesome. Poor thing, she was losing her voice, so I was trying to help her with the hot tea and the giving her the honey and whatever. She was so good. She sang the song Operator. I do remember that.
Wait.
Operator, information, please send me Jesus on the line, something like that. It was so cool. Yeah, I just remember that because she was just like and just like went off. She was so good. Anyway, she was great. So it was a bit hard, and I did make top 10. I gave it my all. I did everything I could.
Do you think that screws you over?
Oh, I don't know. There's no way to prove it.
Because there's no way of knowing. Yeah.
There's no way to prove it. All I know is my parents were devastated. I remember my dad saying, never again, like, you're not going to go through this. Yeah, it was a whole year that I prepped for this, right? And I didn't compete ever again. I didn't try it again. You know why? Because I also was like, really? I was like, wow, it didn't matter how much hard work I put into it. It came down to the judges deciding, and it felt kind of weird to let my fate be in the hands of judges who knows what they were thinking, what they were doing, whatever. And I was like, no, I actually want to be in a place where actually my work is what speaks for me. So, which entertainment? Yes, no, I don't know.
It's a mixture of that.
It is a mixture of that.
There are still going to be people judging you, but
it is, and
especially on auditions when they're right in front of you.
Yeah, I also think that, like you with WWE, they not only look at the talent, they also look at how dependable are you? Are you on time? Are you, all of these things fall into it. So that leads, I like that because it is on me. It is, how hard do I work? How much do I want it? Am I dependable? Am I there? All of these things do, which is very important. I am currently involved in something right now that, people have to be on time and stuff. And I'm not seeing that. People are late a lot. And they come up with a lot of excuses as to why they're late. And then they don't also alert people, hey, I'm going to be late. Like, you have to at least do that. But if you're late all the time, you got to look at it yourself to go, okay, seriously, I've got to make a big shift on this because your team is depending. We're all team, right? We all depend on it. And it's like somebody put it, it's rude to the person that did get there on time, that the person that is waiting for you, So I've learned that along the way too, and there's just things that control what you can control.
Yeah, I find it interesting too. Like, as I'm slowly learning more about your past, I find it interesting because I know you don't like fake news either. So it's interesting to me. I know you like what I do with the website, and stuff, so it's interesting to me that you dealt with it at such a long time, way before wrestling, that you've already been dealing with those kind of things where fake news gets spread and stuff. I find that interesting. Now, was the pageant? This was before you started doing radio, right?
Yes.
So then how far after, like, that was during school and stuff like that? That was during college? 18, that was high school?
No, that was high school. Yeah, pretty much. I think by the time I hit college, I didn't really, if I remember correctly, I don't think I did any high school. But I was in college, and I majored in film producing and directing, which is so cool that I actually get to be executive producer of the show because it does align with what I majored in. There's so many big majors that don't. But I'll never forget, I actually bounced around a little bit in college. In my very first 2 years, I went in for medical school.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love medicine. I wanted to be a heart surgeon. That's what I wanted to do. And then I found out how many years you have to spend studying. And I still was loving singing so much that I was like, wow, okay, I don't know if this really aligns with what I ultimately, like who I am, my personality. Right? Yeah. So I then went from that, I kind of went into journalism. Okay, so, I'll do that. But I hate writing. I will be the first one to tell you. I do not. I like writing songs.
Yeah.
I do not like blogging. I do not enjoy it. Not one iota.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me because you don't you tweet, but you're not you're you get things out there, but you're not like a social media.
No, it's like when I was interviewing Natalia. Remember, she's doing all this blogging, writing interviews for all these magazines and
Calgary
newspapers.
Sun and yeah,
all of that. And she's like, I love this, and the whole time she's like, I love this. I'm like, ugh. Like, that is not what I enjoy.
That's the first time we've been opposites because I love writing.
Yeah,
so
obviously, with your website.
It's the only thing that I do enjoy doing.
God, and I don't get it. I don't get it. But you know what? Good for you.
Well, it's good that you have us here so that we can write things out for you.
Yes.
Then you must hate doing your notes before interviews and stuff. Because
I don't mind writing notes. I don't mind that.
Just don't like writing like a story.
No, like writing blogs and stuff. Like I go through a lot of work to do that, and so because it's not easy for me to do that, I don't enjoy it.
It's funny because I've always tried to write songs and I can't do it either.
But see, I love that.
That's funny that I can't write a song. I've tried.
Although what I love most about writing songs is the melody. I am a very and I realize that that's something with me growing up. It's funny because they talk about that. I did a right brain, left brain exercise. Oh. It's the coolest thing ever to see. Are you more left brain or are you more right brain? I am more right brain, which is more on the creative side and all. And so they talk about, and one of the questions I remember them specifically saying, do you listen to words first in songs or do you listen to rhythm and melody? And I was like, rhythm and melody. Rhythm and melody for sure. That's always been my thing.
Yeah.
And there are times that I learned that's why sometimes it's a little harder for me to even memorize things. I realize that it's a little harder. The words don't feel as good as if somebody would do a little lick of a melody, I could repeat it in 5 seconds. I'm not even 5 seconds. I could just repeat it immediately, and that sticks in my head. So that's my love for writing songs.
That makes sense.
When I write lyrics, I found that it's easier for me to write lyrics in Spanish, and I think it's because Spanish was my first language.
And it's kind of a prettier language
I was just gonna say,
It's way more poetic.
Yeah.
Way more poetic. So in English, I like co-writing with people. I love bouncing ideas. Because sometimes I'll say, look, this is what I want the song to be about. This is the journey. I see this song being this journey, right? And then it's nice to have somebody who loves to write to sit through and go, okay, this is how we can tell the story, and they'll pop a line or something, and then I immediately oh yeah, so it helps me to get into that mode and all.
No, that definitely makes sense because it's definitely a collaborative effort in music a lot of the time. So that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Now when so you're in college. Did you have any odd jobs or any kind of fun?
Oh yeah. So even before I got into radio, no, actually. So I got into radio in college. I know you were asking that before.
Yeah.
It was the last part of college.
Journalism, then that.
Yeah. So journalism led me to then I had a meeting with the dean, and the dean from Media Arts was the name of it. The dean from there. He says, I see you're an entertainer. You love to perform. He goes, why don't you learn the other side of the camera? I think that's going to help you on the front side of the camera. You like acting. You like all of these things. And I was like, that is really smart. And is any writing involved? He's like, no. I'm like, great. Sign me up.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, journalism.
Don't have to write a script? Cool.
Oh, my God, no. So I literally learned how to edit. I love editing. I would sit all night long and edit movies or videos. I loved it. Didn't even know the time had gone. Didn't even know it was, it's 7 a.m.? Seriously, it was like that. I loved producing, and I even did a music video, which I do have. I don't know.
One of your music?
I did.
Music video?
There was a song that I co-wrote called "Whenever We're Together," and it is. I did a music video for it, and you guys just reminded me.
I gotta get mid-90s.
I gotta get a hold. I don't even know. I gotta get a hold of that. I know it's probably somewhere at the house, so I have to look for it. But yeah, so I actually directed it as well. And it was cool. And I produced because I was hiring the cast and all. We actually got this place on Nightlights that was at Embassy Suites in South Carolina. I don't even know if it's there. I think Embassy Suites is still there.
That's actually mentioned in your Wikipedia.
Oh, about Nightlights?
The karaoke thing?
Yeah, so I hosted. Yeah, there. So anyway, so I literally like got this place. I was able to get them to give it to me. I put out there that I was doing this music video. I had people from the town all show up, and they were all extras. The place looked amazing. It looked like a hopping nightclub, and I wrote with another guy. We wrote the whole storyline for the music videos, and we took scenes from all of. I'm actually really proud of this thing now. I'm thinking back.
Oh my God,
I'm
I
like,
see it too.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
and that was my project at work at school as I turned it in for a project. And I remember just really loving it. I was like, oh my God, I love being on the other side as well. But I like being on both.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's then that led me to radio, which was a total thing that wasn't supposed to happen. I went in for a job, got hired to be a salesperson.
Okay.
So selling ads for radio. I just got hired on a Thursday when Hurricane Hugo hit on Friday in South Carolina. Huge hurricane that devastated the coast. And so then I showed up on Monday because obviously nobody went to work on Friday during the hurricane. So then Monday I show up and I said, guys, I've been singing with the bands. And by the way, I was the whole time I was singing with bands since I was 14.
Okay.
Like that's when I started with the bands every weekend. I didn't really go to school. Like I didn't date in school or anything because every weekend I was performing with the band, which I loved. My mom chaperoned.
Since you were like 14?
14. My
That's
mom
crazy.
chaperoned.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and so I was on these nightclubs and
So like 14
performing
through college?
all through.
Crazy.
Always from
Was it the
different
same band,
bands.
too, or
No,
different
different bands. I was with Main Street. I was with Good and Proper. I was with the Occasions. The Occasions are the ones that did "I'm a Girl Watcher." I'm a
Wait,
Girl Watcher.
you were in that band?
I was in that, but it was not the original band. Okay,
But you performed with them like...
So what happened was that they
I
ended
love that
up
song.
that band kind of evolved. Like one member would go and then another member would come in, and so at one point I was involved in that band, but not the original
Right.
band.
That's crazy.
But it was still fun.
Yeah.
So as we were performing that song, I was like, this is really kind
I
of cool.
love that song. That's so cool.
Mama's Home Cooking. That was another band that I was with.
God.
So I was with different bands, but I told them that Monday, I said, guys, I have a lot of with bands around the, Columbia and whatever. If you guys want, since I really haven't started with my job, I can go ahead and put together a benefit jam to benefit the victims of the hurricane.
Oh, wow.
So smart.
So they were like, oh my God, brilliant idea. Let's, do it. So I just remember having one girl that volunteered that helped me, and we put it together. Now the state fair was coming. State fair in South Carolina is a big thing, big thing. So it was coming, so we had to beat the state fair. So we're like, okay, we have a week and 2 days to put this thing together.
Oh, wow.
So we put it together. I got 14 bands to come.
In a week and a few days?
Yes.
Wow.
So got the venue, got the bands. I even had, was it Pretty Poison and Company B?
Oh, wow.
That I got the airlines to put in to fly them in from New York. It was like a big deal. I didn't realize like how big of a deal. Now I look back and I go, whoa, this is pretty cool. So again, school, directing, producing, all of that helped me to produce this event. So then now it's Wednesday or it's Tuesday, and the show is that weekend. So the guy at the radio station was like, okay, all the ins and outs about this. We want to put you on the morning show with Chuck Finley starting tomorrow morning, which would be Wednesday morning, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so that when people call, you can talk about it, you can answer any questions because you know the ins and outs, right? So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I show up Wednesday on radio with Chuck Finley, and it was just him, and they had a guy named Mel that would read the news. He would just come in every 10 minutes before the hour and read the news. And all of a sudden, he and I just hit it off on the radio. Like we were having a blast, and I was taking callers and doing this and that. We have the event. It is a huge success. Hundreds of thousands of dollars got raised for the benefit. It just felt so great to be a part of it. I performed with the Occasions, actually.
Awesome.
I performed that night with the Occasions. I did. So then I show up Monday morning, and they were like, we loved you and Chuck together. We want you to be a part permanently of the morning show. I'm like, shut the front door. What? So it just kind of shows you, like, you do something good. It really is about karma, right?
So then you never did your old job?
So I did both.
You did both when you were in the air?
I did both. You don't understand. For a while. It didn't last too long because it was just too much. I would show up, at 4:30 in the morning to the radio station. We went at 5:30, I think we started. And so, or 4:35, something like that. Anyway, we did the morning show. I'd get off air like around 9, and then I'd go do cell callings until like
that's crazy.
4 in the afternoon.
Did any of the other on-air talents have to have a second job like
No.
that?
No. So I sold ads for a while, but it was cool because it taught me that end as well. And then I did the voiceovers for the ads, like Kentucky Fried Chicken or, McDonald's or whatever. So that was cool because then I learned how to do voiceovers for commercials.
Yeah.
So that was really, this whole thing was such a learning experience for me. I had no experience going into it. And there I was, right?
And it shows why you're willing to wake up so early to start working. Because you did the morning show. You've been waking up at 4:30 in the morning since the 90s.
Yeah, you're right. So, and I love mornings.
And then with WWE
love
for,
mornings.
Forever.
Love it. But who would have known that so from that job, I started doing mornings. Now Chuck and I are actually beating WNOK. That's right. If you're in South Carolina and you're, not like that.
WWE,
No. What I'm just saying is, anybody in South Carolina, you pretty much know, or especially in the Columbia area, you know WNOK. They've been there forever. Jonathan Rush was on the air forever there. They would never be beat. And all of a sudden, Chuck Finley and I beat them in the ratings, and it was like, what is happening right now? It was a big deal.
My statement still stands
deal.
to the company. Yeah, no, it still stands.
No. So anyway, but that actually led me to so many different things. But it was after that happened that when you were asking me about the jobs, different jobs and stuff, before that, I remember I definitely was a lifeguard. Loved it. I was in the swim team for 9 years. Absolutely loved it. I actually coached swim team, so as a swim coach, loved it. I mean, incredible coaching kids and swimming, and something that the Olympics come around, swimming comes around, I'm like this.
It's probably why you live on the beach too.
Yes. Oh, you don't understand. I love swimming.
Yeah.
Love it. So then I remember selling shoes. I actually started selling shoes before I was even legal to have a job.
Really?
In South Carolina, you have to be, I think it's 15 or you have to be 16. So I actually was underage by 1 year. I was selling so many shoes that then the guy found out. But he was like, "Okay, I cannot lose you. I don't know anything. I don't know nothing." That was before.
Awesome.
Like now things are probably more strict.
Yeah.
But I just remember loving making money, like controlling my work ethic. Showing I love selling, which, like I said, it's crazy, like how these things helped me with WWE, and I will get to that.
I was actually just gonna say that.
But to answer your other question, like, what is the craziest job
crazy. I want to know that one first.
Well, I did. This is before I tell you craziest. I would say that I even did the spritzing. I was working in modeling.
And you're talking about the mall?
Well, you're in there in perfume, and you did that.
Good money. It's like $20 an hour or something like that.
It was good money.
Pretty good.
But I look at those people now and I'm like, don't you dare spray me. I didn't do that.
No
though.
sympathy.
I asked people. I didn't just spray them.
Thank you.
I asked people, would you like to try this?
It's the
whatever.
worst.
Or I would spray the stick. I didn't, you tell me, do you want it on the stick or do you want it I don't just go around spraying people.
It's nice being a guy.
It's very nice of you.
I don't have any.
I walk out smelling like everything that they sell. Like,
yeah.
You don't want to have to.
Yeah, I'd be
have
pissed.
to
I'd
spray
be pissed if
everyone.
they sprayed me. I'd be pissed.
So,
You would,
but my
yeah, for
craziest
sure.
job after radio, like you would think, oh my God, no, it was after radio. I was a vacuum clean.
No.
Yes, vacuum clean salesperson door to door.
Door to door?
What? Isn't that like
Door
something
to
from the
door
50s? That
vacuum
was like,
clean salesperson. There we go. That's the proper
What?
door to door vacuum cleaner salesperson. Yes.
Thinking the exact same
1950s TV show, like they did
I'm
that.
sure I was
When they would
going to
dump a
say,
little bit
are
of
you
sand on the
ready for
ground,
this?
Lilian
and then
comes home from work with her little top hat and like puts it on.
puts it on the ground, and then goes and vacuums it
Okay,
up.
I still stand by this. Rainbow vacuums are the best vacuums in the world. They are.
Are you like a
Okay.
vacuum snob to this day with the one you had because you sold
Do
vacuums?
you know that I owned that vacuum cleaner for like 25 years?
The same
that was 25
vacuum
years
cleaner?
ago. Yeah, it's like 25 years ago. Well, no, 20 years ago. 20. That was 20. Anyway, it was a long time ago. But that thing, when you buy it, it is not cheap, those vacuum cleaners. But when we literally, one of my things when I sold it was to say, guys, You're investing in this. Like, you're going to have this thing for like 20 years. Okay. I would say it because that's what the company would tell me. Hey, guess what? It is true. It's true.
Would
I
you
never
show
had
up
to.
alone just at someone's house?
At first, my husband and I did it together.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
And then we split because you can make more money that way. And then, yes, but they were vetted. People were vetted beforehand because it was all referrals. And what happened was that somebody actually came to our house and did this demonstration. And then they also tell you, hey, if you're looking for something. Well, the radio station had gone country, and I'm not into country music.
No.
I'm sorry, nothing personal. Like, that's just not my thing. So I was like, don't want to do that. So I was kind of in between, you know, and I wanted to move to New York.
So that happened abruptly on you? They just out of nowhere changed the country?
Yes.
That's like exactly like Howard Stern when you hear his story, like why he went to New York. It's the exact same thing. Like his station turned country, and he was like, I'm not doing this.
Exactly. And I tell people too, if you don't wholeheartedly feel it, don't do it, because you will resent it. You will start being unhappy. You're just no. So I got out of that, and so this opportunity came, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, let's just make extra money. I thought it was pretty cool. Her presentation was so awesome, and I love selling. I've always been into selling.
Are those still around, those kinds?
Yeah,
of
so I just bought my.
You just bought another one?
I just
so
did.
you stayed loyal to that company?
Mm-hmm.
The rainbow vacuums?
That rainbow vacuum. Can I just tell you right now? I
Yes,
am not
do it.
being paid by the company. I promise you, I'm not being paid by the company. They do not have a bag as a filter. You know how all your vacuum cleaners you have a bag?
Yeah.
Guys, have you noticed that when you turn it on, you smell the bag and the dust and it's gross.
Yes.
This is water. It's water. Everything goes into water. So when all the dust goes in there, guess what?
Sticks,
the dust
so you
is
don't
going
have
to
to have all the
stick.
dust everywhere when you take it out.
It's 99.9999% dust free.
Genius.
Rainbow, clearly she's a good spokesperson still. We should get you on this show, guys.
Yeah.
Well, because my allergies are so bad, the dust, that I could never be around, vacuum
That's
cleaning.
genius.
It's amazing.
Every time I dump it out, the dust, no matter how much I try, it goes everywhere. And I'm breathing it in. It's all my hair.
You get your
I'm gonna
rainbow.
get a
I'm telling
vacuum.
you, and you don't and you take the stuff. You just dump it in the toilet or whatever,
smart.
and it's so awesome. You see what you've captured, and you're like, oh, get out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
It is so awesome, and it does so many things.
Do you plug it in, or does it have to go into one of those sockets in the wall, like those?
It's like a
sockets?
regular vacuum.
plug. Okay.
Well, yeah,
okay.
regular plug.
Now, as
Anyway.
fascinating as the vacuum talk might be to listeners.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get from vacuums to WWE?
Yeah, so vacuum cleaning, I started getting depressed. I will say that.
Yeah.
After a while, I was like, wait, but you know why? Because I was actually at somebody's house, and they're like, wait a minute, aren't you Lilian Garcia from Yes 97? Yeah. And I started realizing, like, oh my God, I am a college graduate. I've just been on radio for, a few years, and I am now in somebody's house selling them a vacuum cleaner. And not that hard work is, hey, come on.
Everyone's gotta work.
Everyone's got to work. But I was like, wait, this is not my path.
No,
this is not my path.
When I first left Team Z, I had to I helped a friend build something for like an Uber party, and I had someone come up to me and go like, "Hey, weren't you on Team Z for 6 years?" And I remember thinking, "God, this sucks." Like I went
this
inside,
is
like, oh,
not my path.
Yeah. So I feel your pain. So how did you? So then
I left. Actually, that's when Mama's Home Cooking called to audition the band, and they were a famous band. I don't know if they're still around, but they're a famous band in South Carolina. And so I was like, singing? Yes, I miss you so bad. Like, I want to do it. So I went into that audition determined.
Yes.
I mean, determined that I was going to get it. I had rehearsed, I had this and whatever. I let it all out. You could just tell in my voice, I needed to freaking sing. And that's what they were saying. Oh my God, you sang with such passion. Well, that's because I am passionate about it, right? So I got hired. And so I left the vacuum cleaning sales unit, and then I started touring all around and performing.
Oh, you still support them. We still support you, Rainbow.
Oh, yeah. And I still own them. Like I said, I just bought another one. It's so great. But I left that. But then eventually I was like, okay, I got to make the move. Like, my dream's always been to be in New York, like always. I wanted to get something that was a little closer to Madrid, Spain, that reminded me of home, and that was the feel of a city. And New York is where dreams come true, right? You can make it there, you can make it anywhere. So I moved to New York, and I grabbed the very first job, which was basically a receptionist for an investment firm. And I did that for a while, and then they found out that I actually had a college degree. And so then I started doing, I'm in the front, like, receiving people. Hi, how you doing? All of a sudden I have these stacks of stock papers. Like I would check all the numbers and millions of dollars worth of stocks. Like, and I was the last person to like check them before the final, right? And I would catch all these mistakes. I love math.
Wait,
so
that's
this
so
was the right
interesting.
thing.
Right-sided brain, but you love math.
That's what I was
Yes.
just thinking. I was like, you
Yes.
should write someone who hate math
Yeah.
and like writing.
I love math. I don't know what it. I do not like geometry though.
Okay.
It's not my thing. Algebra, so good. I was
Wow.
just so good at it.
I'm getting sick
But
just
anyway,
thinking of math.
but I would do all these
Same
stock numbers and stuff. But then that's when I was like, what am I doing here? Like you start getting stuck here. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
wait a minute, stocks, investments, like receptionist. This is not my path.
I'm back to the
Rainbow.
Yeah, I'm back to rainbow.
So I seeked out opportunities to sing. I started singing on the weekends for a Spanish restaurant. And from that, I got discovered. Starlight Orchestra discovered me, which is a 14-piece orchestra. We used to do big events and stuff. So I sang for them, but that was just weekend jobs. So I still had the investment firm and still that. So I'm like, okay, how do I get rid of this investment firm? You know, good to me, but not working for me. 60 hours a week, by the way, too, minimum. That was minimum. So I was like, no, this is taking over my
Math
life.
for 60 hours. Oh.
So I ended up, that's when I went into Weiss Barron, which was a school, acting school. And so I went to Weiss Barron, learned commercials, I did voiceovers, I did all this kind of stuff. And I did commercial for Lucille Roberts, which is a gym there in New York. And then the audition for WWE came my way.
So pause there before
Yes.
you get into that. Now, we talked about, how you've gotten to this
Yeah.
point. Prior to all this, did you watch wrestling?
Yes, I watched wrestling with my dad.
Okay.
My dad really introduced me to it, and I watched it. Ric Flair, Andre the Giant. I remember Blackjack Mulligan. I know this is going back.
No, yeah.
Which is so awesome. And I remember my dad surprised me with tickets to Township Auditorium in South Carolina, in Columbia. And so we went, and I saw Andre the Giant. I get to say that I was there
That's cool.
live when Andre the Giant performed, and I just remember being this little girl just like, and just loved it. Dad, that was a special dad and I time.
Yeah.
My sister and my mom did not like it. They didn't get it. They just totally didn't get it. So they would be in the other room watching movies and stuff, and Dad and I remember just screaming at the TV. I loved it.
Yeah.
I really got suckered into it. So yes.
So that would be more of, so if you saw Andre, then you saw like a WWF show then? Or was that an NWA thing because it was like Ric Flair? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
It could
to be
always,
honest
they're
with
both,
you.
I'm not positive either, but that's really cool. No, it's definitely cool that you got to see Andre the Giant. So then, at this time, WWF was pretty popular. It was 99, right? So this was,
so
they
it was
were in their
99.
heyday.
Yes, and I told Stone Cold last week when I interviewed him, the way that I even got back into it, I was mentoring this little kid, and I'm just going to shorten it. If you guys want to hear the long story, you can check out Stone Cold's interview. But I was mentoring him, and one part of the mentoring is that I would write in a book before he got there. I would write a little something for him, and then he would come in, and he would write me back. So we'd have this conversation in the book, right? And which gets him to start writing and all. And he wrote. I asked him a question in the book. What are your favorite? What do you like to watch? TV and all. And he talked about WWE, and he talked about Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I was like, oh, WWE, I totally remember that. Like, this was, so cute. I actually had that, in common with him and stuff. But I was like, who the heck is Stone Cold Steve Austin? Like, I didn't know. I didn't know who The Rock was. I didn't know any of these because I'd gone to college. I stepped away from wrestling, which happens a lot,
I did the same thing, yeah.
And then months later, I get called for the audition.
So then
Isn't that
who
crazy?
was your audition with?
So my very first audition was actually going to be for Super Astros. I believe that's still the name of it was a Spanish
Yeah, I remember Super
TV show.
Astros.
Okay, so it was, right? Super Astros. So they were looking for some kind of interviewer, but I didn't even know at the time. My agent called me. So he's like, what are you looking, WWF, right, at the time, is looking for an audition for somebody. And I went, for what? I'm not a wrestler. And are you kidding me? And he goes, I don't know what for. I know it's not a wrestler. Go to the audition. You never know.
And was the Spanish thing part of the reason they wanted you?
Yeah, I went in for Super Astros.
Yeah.
So I remember doing my interview, and it was all in Spanish. So I don't remember who interviewed me. I don't remember.
just you,
It's
almost like an
Spanish.
audition where it was just you and the people were
And
you
somebody
talking
else.
to someone like.
Yes, so we kind of did they interviewed me, and then they'd say, okay, so pretend like you're interviewing them. So I'd pretend, right, interviewing them. And then they hand me a roll of tape at the end of the audition. Have I shared this story with you now? Some people that are following me, like I have this avid, thank yous of fans, and I know we're going to get to those fans questions, but they know the story. It's so crazy, but it's those things that I feel like that led me from being thrown into, right? Being completely thrown into radio. I was thrown into, when I joined the swim team, I didn't know how to swim.
Wow.
My mom threw me into the swim team, and I didn't know how to swim.
That's crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah,
But I learned how to swim. I ended up getting medals for swimming. But it really helped me in these situations of being thrown in.
Right.
Hello, I just realized, light bulb, I was thrown into a school, American school, not knowing what that was all about.
A trend with you.
Sink or
you
swim.
threw yourself into the
Sink
podcast
or
game,
swim.
not having any experience.
no
with
experience
it,
in this
and
podcast
got a
show.
show that's doing great.
Did it all.
It's crazy. So, bring me back to where I was saying.
You were talking the interviews, and then they hand you a roll of tape.
Yes, so they hand me the roll of tape. So it's like, okay, you have 1 minute to sell this tape. Now, this portion is in English. I said, you have 1 minute to sell this tape, but you can't sell it as tape. Ready? Go.
And you had sales in you at
And
this
I
point.
had sales in me.
The rainbow, we just heard. The
Hello.
rainbow vacuums.
Rainbow vacuums. I sold
Ads
also
for the radio.
I was a brownie, and I remember, I have Girl Scouts and brownies. I was a brownie. I would sell the cookies.
voiceover stuff.
The voiceover stuff. I also sold. My parents were part of Shackley, which is kind of like Amway or whatever, and they had like this makeup brush that would just flip up, and it had a mirror and all that. I'd go to school and sell that.
Shoes.
As a matter of fact, you want to know where sells?
Shoes.
Yeah, shoes.
Yeah.
You know where sales came into me? When I was in kindergarten, I was on the bus, and got off the bus, and I would have all this money, and my mom was like, "Why do you have money?" And she's like, "What are you doing? Like, why do you have money?"
God.
Like she's really like freaking out. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, I went to the library and I checked out comic books, and I got back on the bus, and people were always reading my comic books, so that's what got me to go to the library to check out a bunch of comic books. I got on there and rented them for 10 cents each."
That's amazing.
So then you must have been stoked then when they asked you to sell something.
So I love selling. Like I just
Yeah.
remember, like it's just in it. So all of a sudden, now they're handing me a roll of tape. So I was just like, ladies and gentlemen, you see this? This is not a roll of tape. No. Let me tell you what this is, ladies. And I would put it here around my wrist. And I'm like, and it was black, by the way. And I was like, ladies, you're at a party. You've totally forgotten your bracelet. No worries whatsoever, because all you have to do is do this. And so I put them in my instant bracelets. You want something different? You want to stand out? And you want to be like a warrior? Put it right here on your arms. It's like Xena!
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
So I put it on like Xena, right?
I love that you remember exactly what your
Yeah.
sales pitch was. That's great.
I feel like it was yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
great.
So then they were counting me down. I still had 30 seconds left. And so I was like, oh, ladies, this is the best. So you're wearing a pair of pants and you've totally forgotten to wear the belt. And your pants are falling down. All you got to do is, no problem. You put the tape, and here I am, like putting the tape around me.
yeah.
I'm like, I put the shirt over. I was like, look, you put the shirt over it. Seamless. It's better than a belt.
Oh my
and now they're
God.
counting me 10 seconds. So I said, so next time you look at a roll of tape, don't look at it as just tape, because it's so much more. What? Cut. Everybody started applauding to no end, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Oh my God.
I don't know. It was the first thing that popped in my mind. Like, I just had to, and that was it. So what happened was they called me for a callback.
How soon?
And I was already on my way to San Francisco for an industrial that I was doing. And I was like, I can't do the callback. But then we found out that Univision, I think it was Univision, already had a girl for this role, didn't tell WWE. WWE had held all these auditions, and I mean hundreds of people were there. They held all these auditions for no reason, really, right? But guess what? It ended up helping me, because
you got in their faces.
6 months later, they have a show called SmackDown, and they're looking for somebody, right? And so Tommy Carlucci, I thank you, Tommy. Thank you. He was the one that actually remembered my roll of tape audition. He remembered I did it in English. He forwarded to Kevin Dunn and that office and said, I really think you guys should bring this girl back in. and re-interview her or whatever. So I get the call 6 months later. I'm like, what the hell? What? Are you kidding? Because I had kind of like, okay, I did it. I did my best. It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
It's done, When they got, 6 months later calling me back, I'm like, what is it with this company that keeps, right?
Who calls you?
I did it. My agent.
Okay.
No, because this was
They
all
called your
going
agent at the
through.
time, okay.
Yeah, they called my agent. My agent calls me. So he's like, you got to go. You got to go in. And I was like, okay.
And were
I'm
you still in
doing
New
this.
York too?
So I was still in New York. So I went up to Stanford. And that was Michael Cole was there. So I remember Michael Cole interviewing me. I interviewed him back, kind of deal. And I remember Chris Chambers was there. Awesome guy. Yeah, and Jill.
But no Vince at this
Jill
point.
Clark was doing my makeup. I mean, they really they do you up to, and they did everybody. This is an audition, and
Yeah.
you've got somebody that's doing your makeup because they want to make sure that everyone's has an even playing field.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy,
That
yeah.
everyone looks good. That everyone's like what it would look you would look like on camera.
Is that how it is today?
So I have no idea.
okay.
But yeah, so then I did the audition, and next thing you knew, they called me. My agent called me. It's like, this is the way I prayed. Look, let me do my best. I don't want to not get it because I blew it, right? If it's meant to be, make it obvious. If it's not meant to be, make it obvious. So when they called me and they said, we'd like to try you out for 2 to 3 months, you can quit at any time.
Wow.
Well, hello, that's pretty obvious. I got nothing to lose.
No, yeah.
Okay. So I show up, Iowa State University, 1999 of August 23rd.
Yes, I
Guess
watched
what?
it actually last night.
Atrocious. Is it not atrocious?
It
But
was
Ryan,
so-
they threw me in. I didn't know I was ring announcing till 3:30. Then I didn't even ring announce in my audition.
You can see that Lilian. It's funny because I watched Lilian
Oh
on
my
TV
God.
for so long, Ashley, and Lilian's always like, she's a legend in WWE at this point, on her
Oh,
announcing.
wow,
But-
thank you.
But
It's
but
nice.
but it's funny, and I'd be interested to go back and see Howard Finkel's first time too, because it was fun seeing Lilian's first time, because I saw the date on there was like you said August
August 23rd.
So then you clearly, it sounds like you remember that whole day pretty vividly.
Oh, I remember vividly. I still have like the little sweater thing that I put on that. I still have that. Yeah, I remember it. I remember that on camera. They didn't tell me. We just rehearsed in the afternoon. The only thing I rehearsed. I didn't even rehearse making their way to the ring, weighing in at, the following contest schedule format. I mean, it's just lingo that I didn't even rehearse it. The only thing I remember rehearsing is, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Test.
The easiest name to say.
Yeah. And so I remember, though, I didn't know, nobody's telling me anything. Like, you can see me going, Test! pointing up there. Like, I would never do that to these now. Never. But that was me. But I don't know.
Do you remember the first person that you introduced? I mean, I watched it, but do you remember who the first person that you actually introduced was?
Never. I don't.
Do you want to guess?
Who is it?
Okay, so the way it played out is, so there's an opening segment with Triple H and Stephanie and JR and Shane McMahon, a whole thing. And then you get into the ring for the next match, and it's Road Dogg who comes out. But Road Dogg does his whole intro, so it looks like you're you're in the ring, like you're ready to do it.
Yeah.
And you can see you kind of like looking at your cards.
No, I have no cards.
There's a point when you look at cards.
No, it's my hand.
Oh,
I think
you
I
just
wrote
wrote it
something
in
in
the
my
hand?
hand. Dude, they told me I couldn't.
Because I saw you do like a little.
Yeah,
like
they
this.
told me I couldn't. 20 minutes before I'm going live, they tell me I cannot use cue cards.
No.
And did you know everyone's names?
No.
Did you have to ask the person?
Dude.
Did you have to ask the different referees who are with you and stuff?
No, I had it written out because Tony Chimmel had helped me that afternoon, and I had it written out, and I thank God for a photographic memory. Because what I did then, right before I went up, I've never been at a point where I thought I was gonna get so sick that I literally,
Right. I
when
can
he told
imagine.
me no cue cards 20 minutes before I'm going live, and I'm already out there, right? And it's like a bad time for a joke. And they're like, no, Kevin Dunn does not like you could, this is not boxing, like you can't. And I'm like, but I don't know anybody here. And now I got to know their weights and their towns and what type of match it is and if they hold a title and like started having like a little bit of a panic. And I literally wanted to run 10 minutes before we go on live. I wanted to run. I saw myself literally getting up and bolting out of there. Oh my God. And instead I stayed in my seat and I was like, almost throwing up.
That face you just made, you can see that look on Lilian's face when you first, because I watched the whole opening, like when you first see Lilian, and you come to the ring and you're standing there and you have that look on your face that you just showed us.
Mortified.
You're so scared, and Road Dogg's music hits, he starts coming up, but he does his own intro. Like, so, and which you probably weren't familiar.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so he does his own intro, and he's doing his whole thing, and then when he comes into the ring, he looks at you, and he said, I wrote it down here, where is it? He looks at you and he says, thanks, but no thanks, Missy. And then he goes on the ropes, and he starts doing his whole, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages thing. Yeah. And you have this look like, when he does that, you go like kind of like look down. And that's when I saw you kind of look at your hand, because I think you're preparing for the next person. But then the next person is Al Snow, who ambushes Road Dogg during that. So you were literally in the ring for no reason at this point.
Yeah.
And you
Welcome to WWE.
And you see the referee, Timothy White, is that his name, right?
Yes.
He like shuffles you out of the ring like real fast, and you're like trying to like rush out as quick as possible. And then the next match is your first one. So do you want to guess who the first one was?
I'm either gonna. I don't know whether it's
a legend.
Big
It's a
Show. It is.
It was Undertaker and Big Show.
Wow.
Whoa, people! I was gonna say Undertaker. You didn't even let me finish.
You got it. Yeah.
Wow, that was them.
Yeah.
That was, wow, people, that's amazing.
And it's fun.
I can't believe I didn't. I tell you, 15 years ago. Yeah, I don't remember any. There's clips that people actually send me that I don't even remember doing. There's backstage segments that people send me that I don't remember being there doing.
Really?
It is crazy. Yeah. That's how fast everything.
You should go back and watch this. It's fun to watch your first episode.
I don't know. It's kind of cringing too.
Oh, you will.
People.
You will, 100%. Only because I was like, that doesn't sound anything like Lilian.
It's probably like this. The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making their way, like literally inside going.
100% what it sounded like.
I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
Oh my God. It's like slight excitement, but definitely you can hear like the fear and hear like, ladies and gentlemen, making our way to the
Because I'm
ring.
also remember reading it from my mind. So it's almost like I'm reading the following contest is scheduled for, like I'm literally verbatim trying to read it from my head, trying to memorize this. So there you go. Like all these places that I was thrown into, who would have known it would have led me to be thrown into the ring on live TV worldwide. Like it still makes me. And then I had to train in front of everybody. I had to train how to do this in front of everybody.
On the job training.
On the job training. There was no NXT.
And you know what's interesting is I went and I'll get to this next, but I went and watched very quickly your first angle in WWE, or WWF is still time, right? It's still WWF then.
Yeah.
I watched your first angle there, and it's interesting because you can see the difference in just like a month of you getting rid of those nerves. Because only like a month
I went
later,
home and memorized everything. I went home and did some studying.
Was there any, when you had that first episode, had you met Vince yet at that point? Had you had any interactions with him?
No, I don't think I remember meeting Kevin Dunn. And I want to thank Kevin Dunn because actually he was the one that said he wanted to take a gamble on having a woman ring announce. Mm-hmm. And he got flack from it, from people who are like, what? You know, all this kind of, and if it wouldn't have been for Kevin to give me an opportunity and also give me an opportunity to get better and better and better, you know, I wouldn't have been there for this long. And it was the same thing as I actually, you know, some of this I'm not going to lie, was a little bit like I was going right back to middle school and high school. Because I was thrown into an arena of, I was the first person, not just the first female, first person to come outside of wrestling into the wrestling world. This is before Diva Search. This is before all of that.
And this is the kind of like the heyday, like I had mentioned, of the Attitude Era. So they were really coming into popularity at this point. So they were trying to bring Hollywood people in, other kinds of. So you were definitely a forefront
I was
of that.
in with the popular kids, and it was hard. It was not an instant acceptance.
Would you say the women or guys or both?
Everybody.
Everybody,
pretty much.
Writers.
Well, there's some people, like The Rock was nice to me. I think he and I instantly gravitate. Mark Henry was very nice to me at the very beginning. Some people I just didn't flat out know. I also didn't know the etiquette of going around and shaking hands and saying hello to everybody.
Which is a weird custom thing.
I thought it was the opposite, stay away from people's way. You know, so I didn't know.
Well, it's like that in Hollywood, though, because in Hollywood, you definitely don't go up and say hi to everyone. Usually, like, you kind of like that person has importance, like, you don't want to bother the boss and stuff like that. So it's not a normal thing to go and say hi to everybody like that.
Isn't it funny? I realize now, though, that because I learned so much from being bullied and trying to get accepted, that this time around when I felt not the being bullied, but the not instantly accepted, right? I didn't try to make friends with everybody. I just what I did was I went home and I studied like crazy, and I tried my best to give them the best intro, because that's what they deserved and that was my job to do, and that's what I focused on. And from that, they started seeing more and more, oh, she really wants to be here. She went, China, I remember, she was not the nicest to me at the very beginning, but she then later apologized to me, and she's like, I thought you were just like everybody else and wants to come in here and wants to then go off to Hollywood and doesn't take it serious and all that. And she goes, I can see that you really are serious about this. I can see that you do love it, because I do. I love wrestling. So that's when I started winning them over by my actions, not by me trying like, please like me.
Right.
Because I mean, okay, so WWE was huge at the time. WWF was like
So big.
because you came in, like I said,
That
during
was
the
it.
heyday.
Yeah.
How like did you start getting noticed kind of quickly or anything like that, or people like the fandom of wrestling kind of starting to the fans, not the behind the scenes, but the fans start to notice you a lot and stuff?
I remember the fans were pretty brutal in the beginning, because I was also replacing Howard Finkel.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Dude, I'm replacing a legend, and then I suck.
Is
Oh my God.
Do you think that's why a lot of people behind the scenes were angry? Not angry, but like were hesitant to support you right away as well?
Like I said, I came outside the wrestling. They don't know who I am. I'm not saying hello to them. All right.
But
so
do you think
instantly-
Howard is a legend? in
And
the
he's
industry?
also a legend, and I'm not any good. So that is a recipe for disaster,
Yeah.
really. So I think that didn't help. It didn't help.
Did he have to train you or anything
So
like
he
that?
helped me. Oh my God.
Was he cool? So he was cool.
Oh my God, he was so awesome, and I just all the time was just like, I'm sorry, like this is not my decision, I'm replacing you. And
It's
this
weird
is
to train your replacement. It's awkward.
so awkward, right? But he was so helpful, and he was still there. He was still doing pay-per-views for many years after that. I did Monday Night Raw. He did pay-per-views. He did the live events
Did
as
you not?
well.
Because I know, like you said, you went to Raw, but you were initially for SmackDown. You were getting hired for?
No, I did backstage interviews on SmackDown.
Ah, that's what it was. Okay, that makes
So
sense.
yeah, which is why The Rock and I had a lot of great backstage interviews, because we were doing them on Raw, and there was a whole chemistry there or whatever, which was cool that the writers saw that and went with that. So can you imagine if he becomes president? People are going to start looking all the strudel was born during my interview. Oh my God.
Wait, the strudel was born during your interview?
Yeah.
I don't even. God,
Yeah, if you Google the
Use
interview,
The Rock strudel?
the Lilian Garcia, that's like the first one that you see, and you see, hey Lilian, what's that line? He's just like, have you ever, oh God, what about some strudel or something like that? Yeah, and that's when it first came out.
Another thing that you were involved in, I forgot to mention when we were talking about your first announcing thing during the whole Road Dogg Al Snow situation.
Which, by the way, I love them. I ended up being friends with everybody. It's so great.
I love that your first time your first time announcing. Well, when you were in the ring, the first time we see Lilian on camera is the same match when Big Boss Man stole Pepper from Al Snow, like that little dog.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, Lilian was her first time seeing was like a big thing. Like I remember that was like in young mind, like seeing the dog get cooked a few months later was like a big issue. It was like a big thing in my mind. So I was like, she's even from day one was there for like.
I think was it 4th episode or something? Jeff Jarrett put me in the figure 4.
So that's 4 episodes later is okay. So to set that up for those who didn't see, it was in September, and there was an episode of Raw's War, which coincidentally was in Anaheim.
Which later on I did the national anthem for the very first WrestleMania.
There you go.
Holy moly!
But I was also gonna say I was in the crowd.
You were?
Well, if it was in Anaheim, I definitely went to all the shows out here when I was a kid.
God.
So I was like, I don't have like this vivid memory of it, but I definitely would have been there if it was a Raw in Anaheim. Like, because I didn't come to show that here. I grew up in Orange County, so 100% would have been there for that, which I thought was fun. But so
cool.
You're announcing. Okay, so that was during the whole time when Jeff Jarrett was fighting women in China and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And it was a crazy time, the Attitude Era. And so this wrestler Jeff Jarrett.
I'm starting to learn it now. It's really fascinating.
It was.
And this
fun.
wrestler Jeff Jarrett,
so fun.
he was like in a few where he was wrestling women, like he was wrestling China. So in this thing, he's wrestling. He challenges women. He wrestles Luna. Tori interferes and hits him with his guitar, and then he loses the match for some reason by DQ. So when you say he loses, he flips out that he lost and gets in your face, starts yelling at you. Now, you'd only been in the company a few weeks at this point.
Right.
You said earlier you had 2 to 3 month trial. By the time they got you physical in the ring, were you full-time at this point, or were you still on your trial?
No, I was still in the trial. No, I'm saying my trial started August 23rd.
That's what I'm saying. So at this point when you got involved in the ring, was your trial?
They actually offered me the job the week after.
Really?
Which was amazing. they offered me a year's contract the week after. But I told them, I said, look, I really want, I don't feel like I'm just so green in this, and I want to know what the road is going to feel like, and this. I said, so let me, if you don't mind, let's stay with the trial basis, and let me see, and I mean, as you know, I ended up signing. So I think it was in.
So then at this point, you weren't even fully on a contract.
November. So I was on a contract.
Well, not full time.
2 to 3. No.
2-3 month thing. Still.
Trust me, I was in. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget. I was performing in the Dominican Republic, and that was because they wanted to bring me SummerSlam, and I couldn't make it because I already had a singing engagement in the Dominican Republic. But I was doing all my contracts while I was in the Dominican Republic and trying to fax and all of that back then. So different, right? Like now we're so spoiled. We got everything at our phone, fingertips. But I just remember like spending a lot of that time faxing contracts back and forth.
Yeah.
And then I came back. SummerSlam was the day I traveled back to the States, and then I left that morning to go there.
And this was, again, I think this is the night after SummerSlam. I think they're showing clips from SummerSlam when I was watching this episode.
Yes.
And okay, so Jeff Jarrett, he's yelling in your face, and he backs you, kind of like you fall backwards into the ring. He puts you in the figure 4. You hadn't had any training or anything like that. So did they explain to you like what they wanted you to do here, kind of?
Yeah, they, well, as you know, the training that I'd had is acting.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I loved singing, and I also was in plays and, all that kind of stuff. So I loved acting. So when they said, okay, this is what's going to happen, and we want you to go, just really over the top, like it's killing you, hurting you, whatever. So I was like, oh, I can do that. I was so excited.
You sold it well. You really, I was surprised it was only a month. I was like, wow, that's a pretty good sell for only a month.
Thanks. Yeah, that was fun, actually. It was a lot of fun.
It's funny, too, when you're watching it, because there's a part where JR's on commentary, and he says, he's like, that's Lilian Garcia. She just started to work here. What's he doing?
That's awesome.
And it's funny how he even mentions that, and you're flailing about in the ring and stuff. Since you liked the acting, I take it you didn't have any reservations. Like, you were probably stoked when they brought this idea.
Oh, God, I was like, please, anything. Put me through a table. When Dudley Boyz came through, I was like, can I please be put through a table? But no, I wasn't. But that's why when Jamal and, was it with Jamal and Rosie? Well, yeah, because he was Rosie, right?
Yeah.
He was Rosie. No, was his name Rosie? When he was doing 3-minute warning?
I'm not positive.
Yeah, because I know that Jamal then was Umaga and whatever,
Rosie.
But I think it is Rosie and Jamal. Anyway, when they, the whole storyline with them in 3-minute warning, and they were like, okay, so we're gonna do this move and this moment. I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. So I was definitely up for any of that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Again, I grew up watching wrestling. Of course, I'm gonna be like, yes.
And I love that clip too, because God, it's been so long since I've seen this, and I probably was there, so like I was saying, so I probably didn't see this from my vision because I was probably in the back somewhere, but Michael Clark Duncan is in the front row while all this is going on. Do you remember this by any chance?
I don't remember that, but I know that years later I saw him. He was so nice. He loved us.
He's in the front row, and while Jeff Jarrett has you in the figure 4, he's like flipping out, like he's gonna jump the barricade, like he's so mad. It's so fun to watch. He's like, oh, what are you doing? He's like looking like he's gonna hop the barricade to come save you.
That is so crazy, because later on we actually became like backstage. We hung out backstage a lot. Anytime we were in LA, he was there, and he was the nicest guy. It was so sad when he passed away.
Yeah, it was sad.
So nice.
You should go back and watch. It's funny because he's literally he's like
flipping out,
and he's not part of the show. You can tell like he was just playing it up for the camera, but it's great. It's fun to go back and watch. Was Jeff cool? I mean, like, did Jeff like?
At that point, I started winning over some of the superstars.
Tide was turning a little bit.
Tides were turning because they started seeing that I started getting better. I was taking their weights, towns, all of that in serious. I was being very nice to the girls in the locker room because that's just me. And then I was also willing to do whatever to put them over. So Jeff was one of the first. Was like, oh no, she's cool to work with. Like she's, listening. I was, oh, you want this? Okay, And so that was when things started getting really much better. Like I said, I didn't try to force myself. So that's the key with this whole thing.
And then, because it wasn't long after when you were involved in another angle as well, when you had that the chocolate pudding pool match thing where like because
With Kat?
yes, and times were very different. Like I was saying, back
Way
then. Like
different.
I've gone back and shown my girlfriend some Attitude Era things, and you've seen wrestling now. You're watching wrestling now, where you see Charlotte and Sasha Banks having actual
I started
matches.
watching the old stuff first, which I was telling Lillian. It was really amazing.
Oh my God.
And my
What
girlfriend
I'm
gets
seeing.
like she gets
Cringing.
real cringy when she sees like the old pudding pool matches and pig pen matches and things like that. She's like, that was what
What?
wrestling was back then for girls. Like that's crazy that these girls have come that far.
What's our society?
Yeah.
Our society has evolved.
Absolutely.
Yes, a lot.
So now what about that? Because that was kind of a little more of a like you were more like a sexier throwing
Yeah.
in pool chocolate. Were you okay with that?
I
initially?
was fine with that. The only thing, and I believe I mentioned, you know what? It was another podcast that I was on that we were talking about the one aspect that I was not cool with, that I was like, oh my God. And that was, it was supposed to be the very first, now Viscera has serenaded me at this point, and now they want
at this point?
No. I'm kind of fast forwarding. Is
fast
that okay
forward.
to tell
Oh,
you?
yeah.
something
No,
that-
I didn't know. Okay, I was making sure.
So Viscera, we started the storyline, which wasn't supposed to be a storyline. It was just supposed to be a one-off where Viscera serenades me, and he was going to be like a ladies' man,
Yeah.
and then he was going to go on to the next woman, and to the next girl, to the whatever. All of a sudden, they kind of like the chemistry of that, and he serenades me. Can't get enough your love, right?
Yeah.
It was awesome. Oh my God, it was so good. So they kind of see the whole blushy thing, that I played off and all, and they were like, "Oh, this is kind of like Beauty and the Beast kind of deal. Like it's kind of cool."
Yeah.
So what happened was that they wanted me to be in a swimsuit competition the next. I don't know if it was like a few weeks later or whatever. I had never done a swimsuit competition. Okay, I have.
Even in the pageant
Yeah, I was just going
times?
to say, it's
in the
interesting.
pageants I had.
Okay.
Yes, in the
That's
pageants
something.
I had. However,
But it'd been a long time since you were in the
it
pageants,
was a
too.
long time I'd been in the pageants. I also had, since the pageants, I had suffered from bulimia. So I became very self-conscious with my body. And the thought of parading my body in the middle of a ring for, people to look at was mortifying to me. I also, though, when I told WWE that I didn't feel comfortable about this, and I mean, I was really freaking out. I was in tears. I couldn't even explain to them why, because I hadn't really come free and out in the
Right.
open saying
Right.
I had suffered from bulimia, I have body issues, and so this is like a really horrible thing for me to put myself in. I'll break down right in the middle of the
Yeah.
ring. I will. I just know it. I was total respect for anybody who wants to do it. Like, I don't care. If that's what
Especially
you want to
for
do.
you.
But for me,
Yeah.
for my personal
Well,
thing.
especially if you suffered from bulimia.
Holy moly.
And that was
When you
after the
suffer-
pageants?
Yes. Yeah.
How long was that something that you struggled with?
I was struggling. Well, it's funny because it's like I struggled. The worst part about it, I think, was like probably 3 years, and then I finally got help when I think I told you guys that day that I threw up 15 times.
No,
and I
No.
I threw up 15 times in one day.
Oh.
I drove around to different McDonald's, and then I'd go over to 7-Eleven, and I'd throw up there, and then I'd go to the 7-Eleven, I'd buy some stuff there. And I was just really going through a lot in my life. I remember just kind of feeling like I had no control. I was in
Right, it's
college,
all a
actually.
control
I
thing.
remember I was in
Yeah.
college during this time. So actually, I became, how I became, I just remember now. I never had a weight issue at all
It's not
growing
about weight,
up.
though. I
But
don't
but
think.
here's the thing, I never had a weight issue. I hit college, and then all of a sudden my metabolism changed, and now all of a sudden I'm gaining weight, and I don't know how to deal with it. And so that was the time where it just became popular to do that.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and then it became I lost control. I thought I was in control. I
Right,
lost control.
right.
Plus, that was before you knew that it was bad for this, bad for that. But all of a sudden, like my teeth are turning gray. It was just crazy. So anyway, that was the day I threw up blood, actually.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I said, I got to get help. So I went and got help. And thank God for the guy that he was pretty fast at helping me, outpatient. But it still lingered with me, throughout the years.
Oh, yeah.
And when I say linger, I mean, it's like you will have an episode where almost you throw,
Triggers.
it triggers, you throw up, and then you go, ugh, and then you like stay clean for a while, and then you'll have an episode. And that went on for a few years. So the fact that they were asking me to do this, I just was like, oh God, I just can't. And thank God that WWE allowed, they changed the storyline and they said, okay, you'll go out there in the towel, you'll be first, and we'll announce it. It's Lillian's first bikini contest. And the fans did cheer.
Yeah.
Right.
That
So it was really nice that they actually wanted this. So they did cheer, and so I was just kind of playing it up or whatever, and then boom, Viscerous music hits. He comes down, he gets in the ring, he swoops me, and all of a sudden, it turns into a full-fledged storyline. I don't show up the week after. Everyone's like, oh, where's Lillian? Where's Lillian? I show up the week after that. I'm mini Viscera. Remember, I was in the
I
leather.
remember.
I'm like dressed as a little, mini me, Viscera, and then that whole storyline just continued from there.
And you guys made out.
Well, yeah, that's right. He did it
I watched that
with
last
the
night.
chip or whatever. That's hilarious. So it was fun working with him. He was a gentle giant,
Yeah.
really gentle giant, and another bad, just sad loss for the industry, for humanity. For, his wife and all. Just so nice, but yeah. So anyway,
That makes sense. Now, I feel like we have properly told the story of your To the Ring.
Yeah.
I feel like it might
Yeah.
be smart to put a pinpoint here.
Okay.
We'll get to these fan questions.
Yes.
And then for a future episode,
Okay.
we'll do your actual
I love that.
storylines, things you were involved in. I wrote them
Okay.
down, but I feel like
Okay.
we've got a lot of info in here.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be good to save that
Yeah.
for the future
Sure.
episode.
No problem.
Right?
No problem with that. You guys have
Awesome.
done a great job. It's crazy
So-
recounting everything.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I actually learned a lot about you. So
Yeah.
we had asked for questions on social media. You
Yes.
put it out there. So Ashley is going to handle that part of some of these questions you got on social
All right,
media.
Cool.
Ashley.
Okay. All
Bum,
right.
bum, bum.
I'm gonna start with the girliest one just because it's most exciting for me. Because
I like it.
I want to know this one too.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, great. So, so I hope I'm saying your names right. I'm so sorry if I don't say them correctly.
And by the way, I do not know what is about to hit me.
Okay,
Just so you know, we
so-
did not predetermine anything.
No.
I did not pick the questions.
At Sonjay Burak asked, "What's your beauty secret, Lillian?"
My beauty secret.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. I was like, I want to know too.
Now, in what context?
Well, I think she probably means overall, like, how, I mean, you look like you're 15. Like, you
Oh,
haven't
thank
aged.
you.
So maybe, like, your skin regimen or how
Yeah.
you take care of yourself.
You know what? Okay, really quick, I could tell you in different varieties. So skin, I don't believe in having to pay all this massive amount of money in products. I really
Okay.
don't. I use a combination. Clinique, all about the eyes, is great. I use Oil of Olay. They have a great eye serum. And Eucerin is an amazing product. It's been around forever. It's developed in Germany. It's super cheap. I use their cream, and their facial washer. So
Okay.
you don't have to spend tons of money. You really don't. I think the bottle of Eucerin is like $10 for like the entire thing. The facial washer is like literally like $5.
Okay.
It is not expensive. But it works great, and I have sensitive skin. So if anybody has sensitive skin, trust me, this really works. So that's what I do there. I think it's very important to. I've been on a crazy diet for 20 years, and it's not even really a diet. It's a regimen, but that's because I got exposed to high levels of mold when I lived in a house in South Carolina. So they put me on what's called a mold-free diet. Mold-free diet is no dairy, soy, vinegar, nothing that ferments, but trust me, it's actually, I feel like it's been a really good thing. I eat very, very clean. I eat whether it's fish or chicken or beef, but it's non-marinated. So just salt and pepper. I'll put a lime over it. Lots of vegetables, and I'll put lime on it as well, salt and pepper or whatever. And then potatoes or rice, and I don't really do, I don't do pastas and stuff, that kind of stuff. So it's just, what it is non-preservatives. I think that our problem with cancer, our problem with maybe aging or whatever, is preservatives. Preservatives in the food. So this has worked for me.
Great.
Yeah. So I would say it's hours of sleep. I usually literally get about 6.5, 7 hours. So it's not like I have to do 8. Every once in a while I'll do 8, but I don't like 8.
Yeah, 5 to 7, I'm good.
I don't feel good at 8 hours.
Me neither.
No,
I'm
I
all
actually
groggy.
feel more tired.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, it's weird.
I do too.
You
yeah.
can sleep too much. Okay, so then we have okay.
And living with your passion That's a major thing.
Helps.
Living what you love to
what
do.
you do.
Yeah.
I_love_Lillian asks, if you could give advice to a young, fresh out of college Lilian Garcia, what would it be?
Fresh out of college. Wow. Definitely follow your passion. That is a major thing. That's when you truly succeed, because it's what you're truly going to spend time putting into. We were talking about how it takes 10,000 hours to become a professional or in something, and that's a lot of hours.
Oh, yeah.
People, that's a lot of hours. So if you think you're going to be an actor and not put in that kind of stuff, forget it. If,
Right.
if you're a singer and not put it, no, because you could get those quick little jobs, but longevity, no, it's not going to happen. So I would say definitely follow your passion. I loved going to school. I learned a lot from college, so I definitely agree. I know it's not for everybody. Even Stone Cold was talking about it. It wasn't necessarily for him. But he was only 17 hours shy from getting his college degree. So to me, he went to college.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
he got the benefit of all of that,
Absolutely.
right? You learn discipline. You learn to push through things that you don't like to do necessarily, classes that you don't like. I hated geometry, by the way. But I ended up taking it in summer school so I could take it by itself and get... Ugh, that is, but yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of what I would tell my...
Okay. So then, speaking on the subject of advice, what's the greatest advice you've ever received in your career? And that's from Matthew Ryan, 15.
The greatest advice that just be prepared. Really be prepared. Study. Show that you care. Come on time. Those are, and I've even... It's funny because I didn't realize, it's only recent that I've even noticed about the coming on time, how important that is. And maybe it was because of my Latina base. Like, we tend to be late.
Yes, be on time.
A lot. But it's something that everything's a team. Even if you work for a company, they're paying you. Like every dollar, if you're on set for an acting gig or something, you're sure, I'm sorry, but I was like, and that's like thousands of dollars every minute, or sometimes millions.
Yeah.
So you have to come on time. And if you're not going to, let the people know ahead of time and do not make it a habit. So that's something even more now that I've learned.
Awesome. Are you working on any new music, Team Lillian?
Yes! Oh
What
my
can you share with
God.
us?
So, guys, I actually, when everything happened with my dad, I kind of put music aside because I lost my voice in a way. I really was such a struggle to sing, so it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
But I actually have a song that I recorded, and it seems like it's the perfect time to bring it out. I am trying to figure out right now what's the best way to do a music video for this, and I'll tell you guys why. The song is very uplifting. It is how I'm feeling now. It's the next chapter of my life, but I don't want to be cheesy with the music video. Isn't it crazy? You got to think of these things.
Go to the Marriott, nightlights, dude. Like the karaoke thing. Just recreate that video from the 90s.
Oh my God, that's so funny, right? Yeah, I don't know. So I'm figuring all of that out. But in the meantime, I'm also not rewriting. I'm writing. I'm looking for new writing partners. Like I said, that's when I really enjoy it. But I've been working on getting my voice back also a lot, and been singing at least 4 times a day. I literally go to some of these, here's the thing. I was singing at home a lot, and then I was like, I'm so tired of singing in my closet. It's just sad.
Yeah,
or
for a
singing
voice
in the
like that, to
studio.
be just a closet.
Well, what I just meant, by myself, So especially, we even made a room. It's the studio room, but it's still I like being around people.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I thought about and went with my band. Oh, rehearsals were so much fun. I was like, 3 hours come by. What?
Right.
Because I was with them and we were
Jamming's
playing.
the best.
Jamming is awesome. It's just awesome. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll get a rehearsal room and go ahead and do that. And then I thought, wait a minute, all I'm going to do is, without the band being there, it's going to be another 4 walls that I'm by myself, doing that. So then I got an idea, and I'm hoping maybe this will help somebody out there in your town. Maybe they have this. They actually here have karaoke rooms.
It's a
Yes,
new thing,
at the Dragon. What's it called? Something Dragon in Beverly Hills.
There's a couple. There's like a
There's
newer
a
thing.
few things
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
You
like in
go
Japan
in,
where you rent a room.
it's a room.
Yep.
Okay, it's still a room, but because there is a screen there,
Yes.
great sound system, microphone, you can sing, and there's a stack of books with every song you can think
Awesome.
of.
Yep.
And now I've been doing that. I've been going to these karaoke rooms. Yes, I'm by myself, but it doesn't really matter. My dog comes with me.
Of course he
Of course
does.
he's underneath right now.
I know.
He's so quiet.
He's
so
always
awesome.
here, guys. You never know.
But he'll sit there and just listen to me sing. But I get to see it feels different, and it's like the videos there, and so I'm starting to get my voice back, and it's fun.
When's the possible when we might hear the song? If you had to guess.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna make you guys a promise. No, maybe not. I shouldn't do this because you can't. Sometimes you can't promise. I'm hoping. Let's hope.
Let's hope. What are you hoping
summer.
for?
Let's
This
hope
summer?
this summer.
Okay.
I feel like it's the appropriate time for this song to come out.
You should debut it on the show.
Yeah. Okay, so we got to do. I got to work on this video.
Yes.
I got to work. You guys, all right, that's it. I'm making a mental note. I got
Okay.
somebody that
So-
not a mental note.
And we're
I'm
running
actually
a
making-
Yeah,
few
we're running
minutes
on time.
late, but we should go like 10 more minutes, I think, to finish
Yeah,
this
yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah.
We're cool, Steven.
Is that cool? Okay. Okay, so let's see. The Great Mizzard asks, what's the most unexpected moment you witnessed live?
At WrestleMania, right?
It just says live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if
The
you want to pick
most
WrestleMania, you
unexpected
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
Oh God, sometimes like I never wanted to know who would win, who didn't win. I was like, okay, you just tell me what announcement do I make, and then I'll watch the ending. I'll know what to say in the end. Because before I used to get everything, but I did want to know. Like when you're learning, you want to know everything. Like give me everything, so I'm prepared. But I think that the most unexpected moments would be like when there was title changes, when you thought it was going to go one way, and then all of a sudden you hear it in my voice, right? You're like, oh, here's the following, here's your winner. Like seriously, I was knowing just like everybody else, and that was so much fun.
Is there's not one that comes to mind where you were like, I definitely didn't think that guy was going to win the
I'd
title, or
see
like a
that
Money in the
coming.
Bank kind of thing, or like a.
I know that there were some people sometimes on the surprises, whether it's Royal Rumble or somebody would come through and you're like, what? Nothing comes to mind right now. I just remember it was those instances.
Yeah.
Or the Money in the Bank always stuck out in my head
That's what I would think.
as those moments, some of the moves that you never expected to see. I remember Kalisto, and actually, he did a move. It was not last Money in the Bank, right? The
Wasn't
money
it the one
before.
he did
He actually got a slammy for it.
Yeah, when he did the Salida del Sol back through the ladder.
Yes.
Yeah, that was insane.
My Lord. And I told him that night, I said, dude, you have stepped from the shadows, because he is kind of like a little bit in the shadows, the tag team and all of that. I said, you have now stepped through that with this one move. And he's like, nah. Next thing you knew, he won the Slammy for it. and then he became an individual, solo. So yeah, so it's those little things that
That's cool.
sometimes.
Did you think it was WrestleMania that he asked? Just 'cause
Oh, no, I was
like,
mixing it
wrote
up with the other
okay,
one,
so I
yeah.
make sure.
Yeah,
so,
no, I was-
awesome. Okay. So Jimmy Merrill asks, when you one day receive the call to get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, who would you like to induct you and why?
Dude, guys.
You know it's gonna happen.
That makes me.
Oh, come on, you know it's going to happen.
No, you don't know anything in this baby. Why that makes me cry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Seriously, guys, if I ever got that call, I don't even know how I could even contain myself. Like, it would mean that much to me. Like, this business is something I absolutely love. It is my attachment to my dad, for sure. And it is just something that has been the journey is so incredible. And all I ever wanted to do is just do my best, and just really like go out there and make the stars shine with the announcement. I mean, I think the announcement is so important. It sets up the whole thing. It really does. And let me just tell you, I feel like in ways that I've already won because of so many fans that have tweeted me, that have sent messages going, and like you even saying, it's going to happen. Like, no, I can't even, like,
Can't even fathom that idea.
no, because there's so many amazing people, right, that have been inducted and all of that. And, but the fans already saying this, you saying that, like that to me, wow. Like that already has meant so much to
Lilian,
me.
I can tell you with certainty that you will. Like I watched wrestling my whole life pretty much, and what you just said, you did do. Like you did help enhance the show. Like you did make things because the announcing is very important, and it sets the stage for when someone's coming out to show how important they are. So you 100% did that. You followed in Howard Finkel's footsteps perfectly, and I have absolutely, and I'm not just saying that 'cause I'm on the show. I have no doubt in my mind that'll happen.
It just blows my mind. Like that, hashtag mind blown. Like, they even thought of it.
Hashtag mind blown. So, if you had to pick somebody, would you be willing to say?
You know, I don't really want to right
Okay,
now.
no
I think
problem.
that
That's
I will know that. I know
Okay.
some people have actually, have texted me that before. And it makes you go, stop, wow, if it ever happened, why, who would I, whatever. And I have several people in my mind that have come, like, just come in mind, but I was like, first of all, you haven't even gotten the call. So I'm like, I know you're supposed to envision it. You really are supposed to envision it. I believe that. Envision it, it kind of creates it, right? So but at the same time, like, I don't want to envision it and, like, it never happens.
Go
Like,
jinx yourself. Yeah.
Right.
So, but, okay, so if I did, like, I do have a few people that
Top 3.
I'm not going to mention. I'm sorry.
I know.
Good try.
Yeah,
I tried one last time.
Good try.
All right.
Yeah.
So Extremes Dawn asks, what's your relationship like with The Undertaker?
Oh, I love him.
Yeah?
His name is Mark.
You put down The Undertaker.
So then when you see him,
awesome.
it's not Taker or anything like that. It's Mark.
Mark.
It's Mark.
Yeah, hey
Yeah.
Mark. And I do that because sometimes they even like that. They realize, hey, outside I'm a person,
Yeah.
right? I play this character. So I didn't necessarily do that a lot when I was there ring announcing, and that was just because I used to do that with Phil, with CM Punk. And I used to be like, hey, Phil, and then when I went out there to announce, all I could think of was Phil.
Oh, smart. Yeah.
And I literally looked at, I was like, from Chicago, Illinois, 220, whatever his weight was. Now I can't remember, 222, I think, something like that. And then all of a sudden it was like, Phil! And I didn't say it, but in my head I'm like, oh my God, that's all I can think about is Phil. So luckily I looked up and I see on the screen that says CM Punk. I was like, CM Punk, and that day I was like, that's it, guys. You are no longer Phil, Mark, no.
That would have been a Jeff Harvey moment if you had done that.
No,
if you
you're
called him Phil.
Yeah, oh my God, no. But, oh, yeah. So, no, but Undertaker is amazing. He's a great guy. We've had our little rocky roads. Like, there was one time when I bought into the 1, 2, 3 count at a live event overseas, and I actually said that that the match was over, and it wasn't over. And so the referee had to restart, and he was upset with me because he thought that maybe I wasn't paying attention, and I was like, no, I was paying attention. I bought into the 3 count. It was so believable. The referee, he was on the opposite side, and I really thought that the referee said 1, 2, 3, go, when he was like 1, 2, no.
Oh.
So 1, 2, 3, go, and 1, 2, 3, no really looks the same to me.
Yeah.
And I am not used to ringing the bell. Like, that was just not my job at WWE, but we did it on live events when I was there. So anyway, so I remember we had some words backstage, but it was fine. I think, like I said, you didn't really know how serious was I.
Yeah.
Okay.
deal.
So this
What's
question,
I feel like he's
go
giving
ahead.
us the main go, so get the good one in.
All right, the last one. Well, then you tell me, Ryan. Do you
Let's
think it
see.
should be the one that we were kind of debating on?
No.
Okay, so maybe.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right,
Yeah.
this is the last one. If you could do a movie,
Who is this by the way?
I'm sorry. This is by Sweet Face Girl 22.
Okay.
If there was a movie about you, who would you want to play you?
Woo!
Oh wait, and I think she asked. Wait, you know what? She could have asked one of these.
It's okay. We'll
Sorry,
tell
we
you
had to write these
together.
down.
One of the two.
One of the two. So I'm gonna ask both. If there was a movie about you, who would you want to play you? And also, if you could do a movie, who would you want to collaborate with?
Oh, it's easy. The second one. If I could do
Okay.
a movie, I'd Rock. Come on,
cool.
he and
Understandable.
I had such chemistry in the backstage promos and everything, and it was so great that the fans saw that. It was great that the writers saw that. It was so much fun working with him. I ran into him, on
Yeah.
the Baller set the other day, and there's something when we, get together, like, So I think it would be just so much fun to do a movie with Rock and just a different.
That's awesome. Yeah.
For sure, it would be great. If somebody could play me. Oh my God, people! Who would you?
I think I asked. I think this was my question. I'm not sure because I wrote them so close together. So I apologize.
Oh,
But
no,
this
that's
was-
okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay. Some people. It's kind of like it goes to who you guys. I'm curious who you guys.
I'm trying to think right now.
That reminds you.
I'm thinking Kate Hudson, but just because
Kate Hudson.
yeah, I feel like she's a powerful woman, and I think she'd be amazing.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I was gonna go younger, just because you have to do your journey too. I was thinking, and maybe it's because I watched the Glow trailer this morning, but I could see like Allison Brie playing like a young, because you had the shorter hair.
Don't know Allison
from
Brie.
Community.
either.
Have you seen the Glow Wrestling?
I bet you if I
Netflix?
Googled her, I bet you I know her.
I'll show you.
You know, somebody told me that I remind them of Eva Mendes.
You have a little bit of an
That
Eva
I
Mendes.
have that I have a little bit of between Eva Mendes and Shakira.
Yeah. Oh,
that funny?
totally,
Yeah.
totally. But Eva Mendes is a great actress. I mean, Shakira, I don't think she acts, but yeah.
Allison Brie?
Oh,
looks
I know
wise.
her.
Wait, can I see-
Yes. Allison Brie. Really? Okay.
right, okay.
Like
Only
she would
because I
play
think
the
I saw the
younger.
Glow trailer. So yeah, for younger you, because
And
it's
then
her
Kate
being like an
Hudson.
actress and having to go to wrestling auditions
Okay.
and be like, what's this weird world of wrestling?
So there you go.
I love it.
I appreciate this so much, guys. You were awesome.
Thank you so
Seriously, that was
much.
great questions.
I'm actually excited to do the next one now. Now
Yeah,
that we did the
Yeah,
whole
part two.
There were so many fun things I didn't even get to. Like we touched on Viscera, but there were so many things I wanted to get to.
But before we leave, I have to give a shout out to. I have amazing fans, and I want to thank all of them absolutely, because I really do have great fans. There are some fans that have been so loyal to me from the very, 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 very beginning, right? So I've got like at Teen Lillian, which is Waylon Myers, incredible. Brandon Toledo, which is at Brandon Toledo. Crazy, like just whew. Lauren. So Lauren, and I think you pronounce her name what is it?
Watret. That looks
Rutret,
right.
something like that. So she's from England. And just real quick, I'll tell you guys, I actually got it. We went over there to do the show, and I got an email or a tweet, and it said, God, if I could just meet Lilian when I go to the show, it'd be just a dream come true. I have followed her for 11 years now. And I saw that, and I don't know what it was that I gravitated to that so much, and I was like, wonder if I could make that work if she's already coming to the show, right? So I actually reached out to her, and then come to find out, I made it happen, and I met her, and it was just a beautiful moment of us, and we've stayed in touch since.
That's awesome.
And I feel like I've known her for so long, so many years. And so it's really, I said, what the hell? What is it about me that, she says, I don't know. I just connected with you since I was like 11 years old. She's like 21 or something now, or 22 now. And it blows my mind.
I think it's the positivity that you project.
Maybe.
I think
hopefully.
that's why you have such good fans, because it's the
that's awesome.
positivity that you project.
Well, I try.
I agree,
Danielson _, 1983. He actually comes to the shows when I see him. He's come to the signings. He's a great, amazing fan. A new guy that's been around more and more. He's got the at I Love Lilian.
Yes.
With the underscores.
underscores.
Tom.
I like that one. I like Tom.
Great. And Tom also does the little gifts, or, is that what you call them? Yeah.
Yes,
So, great. Sonia Burak, at Sonia Burak. Great. I mean, she follows me forever. I think you just asked one from at Sweet Face Girl 22.
Yes.
She's another one. Shout out. She started following me when I released Quiero Vivir and all. And then Turtle Power, at Turtle Power 3BT. He lets us know how we're rating, which is great.
So
Please keep
Big
that
fan of
up.
that one.
Please keep that up.
Yeah, super helpful.
If I didn't get to you, please know I appreciate you. These are just the ones that stuck out to me that have been following me forever. So I thank you guys so much, and thank you for the show.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. All right, that was another episode of Making Their Way to the Ring. It was actually fun to be on this side.
awesome.
Was it?
It was great. It's kind of like what my dean, had said. It's good to be put yourself on the
Yes.
other side.
Yes.
So there you go. There's a tip for you guys. Always put yourself on the other side of things that you are working on, that you do in your life.
Yep.
Because you get to know both sides. So I guess, guys, you can find me again at Lilian Garcia on Instagram and on Twitter, and then Lilian Garcia official fan page. Don't forget to join us at youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, and also iTunes, or we're a podcast. Hey, it's so easy. You've got an app. It's a podcast app. Just download us there.
5 stars.
Make sure you give 5 stars. That really, really, really helps the show. Right? I love seeing all the comments. Comments have been
Reviews
amazing.
are great to see.
I read all of those reviews. Please, I'll start sharing with those with you guys on air, so that hopefully your names will pop up on there too. So thank you guys to
thank you.
Ryan Satin and Ashley
Thank you
Daniels.
so much.
Make sure you guys check us out next week for making their way to the ring. Until then, much peace, love, and passion. Passion, passion, passion. Mwah.
From executive producers Lilian Garcia, Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and Phil Svitek. Producer Stephen Lemieux. Senior news producer Ryan Satin. News and social media correspondent Ashley Daniels. And the entire Making Their Way to the Ring staff. We would like to thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook. Rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV Network. Buzz you later.